come to give you what you love. It's time to give you what you love. I'ma give you what you love. Give you what you love.
Well, happy Monday afternoon to each and every one of you. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are seeing my happy little face or watching me on any social media platform via YouTube or Facebook, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Okay. It's hot as Hades outside. Let's start there. But a lot happened this weekend that I wanted to talk to you about. Some of it is good, some of it is not so good. And despite the fact that it's really hot outside, I wanted to make sure, ooh, my clarity is much better on this Zoom link, Michael. I don't know what happened over here, but thank you. Despite all the stuff that's been going on outside and the heat and everything, I need to just share some of this stuff with you. So let me start here. It's Monday. Nothing's changed there. And couple of things happened over the weekend. Let me start with the really good stuff first. So I got invited to a baby shower, and I'm sitting in the backyard on the patio, and out walks Mike Jerrick from Fox News. And I looked at him and I said, oh my God, Mike, wish my husband was here. He don't come to baby showers, but I'm just so happy to see you because I just want to know how you keep your job because you're always saying the craziest things. And he sits down and he and I gets to talking and laughing and everything. And what Mike Jerrick left me with was this. You can be a well-known anchor. You can be a well-known whatever it is that you do at your job. But if you are not kind and open and authentic with people, it makes all the difference in the world, right? So I watched him play with the children. He and I cackled until it made absolutely no sense. And I walked away from him understanding this, that kindness always, always, always goes beyond anything else that we can say and do. A lot of us walk around with these egos and these chips on our shoulders about how powerful we are and how much money we make and how much money we're in control of. But none of that matters at the end of the day if you don't treat people right. Mike Jerrick reminded me of that. And so thank you, sir. He had me in stitches the entire time. And so that was a good experience for me. That was Saturday afternoon. Saturday morning, you all know that I've been very open and transparent about taking care of my health, that I was diagnosed with diabetes in August of 2019, told my doctor to give me 3 months. I was going to drop my blood sugar levels, which I absolutely did. I've been very open and transparent about being on the trails wherever I am. I don't tell you where I am until I get off the trails, which is, I do it for my safety and so my husband doesn't lose his mind. And I always have people with me for that reason. So this Saturday, out on the trail with Lisa, who, you know, her and Ronte usually rides with me, and sometimes we have other people. The experience that I had on Saturday morning has prompted people who watch me on Facebook talking about riding. I've got a bunch of black men now saying that they want to ride with me. I said, listen, I'm good. I'm okay. I got a black man in my house who I did not tell what happened until I got home because I knew how he was going to respond. We took our ride out to on the Wissahickon Trail, and when we came back to the Bells Mill Road, where we were to cross the road to go over to the other side of the trail, there was a Parks and Recreation truck sitting there as they're supposed to stop. So I slowed down, right, because, I mean, I'm on a bicycle, and if anything hits me, I'm going to be fine. Just as I get into the middle of Bells Mill Road, the driver of the Parks and Rec truck pulled up and almost hit me. And he starts screaming. He said something derogatory to me because I hollered out. I was like, hey, don't you see me? Because I knew he was supposed to give us the right away. Lisa, who was behind me and heard whatever the derogatory thing that he said, responded to him. Now, he could have just kept going straight, which is the way he was going. He deliberately turned onto the trail and tailed us up the hill, you know, revving his engine and cursing and screaming and carrying on. And I said, okay, Lisa, this is not going to end well. So he kept trying to pass us. He pulled around Lisa, zoomed right past her, got out of his truck and started screaming at her again. Well, I lost my cookies. I said, do you work for the parks? Do you not understand that we have the right of way? You kept tailing us up, and we went on and on. So I put up a post about it on Instagram and Facebook on Saturday, and the amount of calls that I got about it was unbelievable. I was so upset because up until that day, and I'm telling you this story because this morning, just before I got on the air, Sue Buck, who is the Deputy Commissioner for Parks and Rec, called me. And she made it right. She apologized. The Parks and Rec people, when they saw my video on Saturday, they apologized immediately. But she actually made me feel better because one of the things I said to her was this. For all the times that we've been on that trail, we walk the trail, we ride the trail, we have never felt unsafe, and especially by a Park and Rec person that, you know, works there. So he's been pulled off the trail until they have an investigation, and I'm telling you, I'm going to follow this like white on rice until I figure out what they're doing with this, because nobody else should experience what we experience. Couple of things. If we were not brave enough, you know, because, you know, when he stopped, we just could have stood there like deer in headlights. Lisa immediately pulled out her phone, asked him for his name, and told him to back up. He called her ignorant. He did all sorts of horrible things. And there was a guy, a black guy, sitting in the truck that absolutely did not open his mouth. He just looked like a deer in headlights. We both felt sorry for him, but I knew this was not going to go well for him because Michael Corden reached out to me. I got home. I told my husband when I got home, and his response was, where did this happen? Why didn't you tell me while you were on the trail? I said, I didn't tell you while I was on the trail. A, because I was okay. And B, I knew you would have come out there. And C, was nobody paying for bail money to get you out of jail. He said, well, you let me worry about that. I'm going to say this to all of you. The Parks and Rec people were really kind and very understanding, and they're very clear that when they hire people to work on those trails, it's to make sure that we stay safe, not to harass us and treat us horribly. But I got to tell you all, if you hire people that are out here doing the kinds of things that that man did, it is not going to end well. We as women, even though we may not have men on the trail with us at the time, we are protected. We are protected people. Before I got on the air today, black man called me and said, no, see, because we're going to have some brothers going with you on the trail from now on. Y'all can't, you just, everybody needs to be treated with a modicum of decency when we're out there. We are really working on our health and our well-being, and the last thing we needed to do was to be harassed. I got off that trail, said goodbye to Lisa, went out to the Schuylkill Trail, and there's a brother out there that started a bicycle shop called Tricycles, and it was amazing. I've videotaped him, talked to him about his tricycle shop, never talked about what happened to me on the Wissahickon Trail, just, you know, really tried. He did not realize, his name was Mike. Mike did not realize how much he was calming me down. When I was talking to him and telling me all about his shop and how he wants it to be an atmosphere to make sure that people are okay, that they come in, that they're not trying to sell bikes, they're just trying to create an atmosphere on the trail for us. And I almost cried because I'm like, the experience that I had over the Wissahickon Trail was vastly different from the experience that I had over at the Schuylkill Trail. I rode my bicycle for a little bit and I gave it to him, and I'll pick it up at some point today. But you all got to treat the people that are out here properly. We are, you know, we spend money for our bicycles. We get up early in the morning to take care of our health. We drink a whole lot of water. We are doing all the right things. And the last thing we need, I want to thank Sue Buck. I have to thank Sue Buck because she was just wonderful. When I got off the phone with her, I felt much better. Much better. So thank you, madam. I understood that you clearly got it. I understood that you clearly understood that that was not ever to happen. I understood that you were clear that we had the right of way coming across that intersection, and that should have never happened to any one of us. And my ultimate goal, because you see he picked the right one on Saturday, my ultimate goal is that he never does that to anybody else on that Wissahickon Trail. Anybody else. So there we go. And now I'm going to have a bunch of black men tailing me and following me and making sure that I'm okay. And I'm trying to convince the brothers that I am fine and that I am okay and I can take care of myself. I have things on my bicycle that would keep me safe. And if all else fail, if someone attacks me, my bicycle itself will become a weapon. You cannot just jump out your cars and jump into people's faces and think it's going to be okay, right? So I'm going to leave that one alone. That I feel like that is going to have a decent resolution. To the people at Parks and Rec who are on their social media pages, who are all over it right at that moment, Thank you very much. Mike Jerick, when I was talking to him on Saturday, he was like, what? It was so funny. He's like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. So people, and with all the cameras and stuff that are out here, you just can't get out and run off at the mouth. He may have been having a bad day, but taking it out on a rider on the trail was not the thing to do. It was just not the thing to do. Anyway, oh yeah, Michael, I have that on my bicycle. Yeah. I bought it when I was at the Yellowstone Park, and I carried in my bicycle pack. So I have all sorts of things to, otherwise my husband would just have a bird for me riding out there. Just not. I am not unprotected, y'all. That's all I am not unprotected. I just want to make sure that what he did to me and to Lisa was never going to happen to anyone else. Anyway, I'm moving on. I wrote an article about grieving families and the gun violence in this city and what has been happening. And I'm noticing, a couple of my friends, 3 of my friends lost children in the last couple of weeks. And the thing that bothered me the most was people who wanted to know things like, well, how did they die? What were they doing? How were they, instead of, and wanting to be responded to, instead of giving the people who are grieving some time to get themselves together. It's unconscionable. No one of you, and far too many families in the city of Philadelphia and beyond have lost children to gun violence. So I write this article. I am about to put up the link on Sunday morning, and at 5:45, I get a text message that another one of my friends, his son's best friend, was shot and killed in his car in Lower Merion. And I said, okay. And when it all came out in the rinse, something to do with buying a straw gun and some other stuff that's happening there. I can't fully discuss what I am aware of until it all comes out in the news. But you want to hear something? Before I got off the air on Thursday, George called in here. Yes, that George, the one that you all talk about. And I have issues with George, too. The only issue I have with George is that he calls people names. I just want him to speak what he's talking about, speak his truth, and walk away from it. But George is going to be George. And so I allow George to be himself because he is who he is. I'm not changing anybody at this stage of the game. What I want to make sure is that people, are, when they call, take the time to call into this radio station, they're absolutely heard. George called in here and said, there are gun houses all over the place. My friend says to me, oh yeah, when my son was in high school, he was telling me that they could get a gun in 2.5 hours for what now? For $200. So it is incredibly easy for these young people to purchase guns. Nobody is talking about it, and I need to figure out how we can work around and through this some kind of way. Now, with that being said, please don't call me talking about Commissioner Outlaw needs to be fired. Don't call me saying that, okay? Because all of this stuff was going on before she got here, and I dare say, for as long as she's here, we have to start working together and start asking the necessary questions and looking at what we can do. Gun violence is not endemic to an urban setting. And I keep telling you all this. People think, well, I live in the suburbs and this can't happen to me. Yeah, it's happening all over the place. And so I need us to be very mindful about what we're doing and how we're doing it. Now, let me check with Michael to make sure nobody's calling. I have the phone lines are open, 215-634-8065 until 2 o'clock this afternoon. So I literally can talk to the WURD listeners. And while I'm at it, the tip line for police, Philadelphia police, is 215-686-8477. And that reminded me, someone either sent me an email or something that said I was making fun of, calling it what do they call it? See, I don't even use the word. So whatever, a snitch line. And that's not what, I never opened my mouth and said that was a snitch line. Someone else called it and called it a snitch line. That was not me, right? And so I need you all, I welcome your feedback, but when you're giving your feedback, make sure you have your facts together so that you don't willy-nilly just jump all over me. I am not going to be perfect. I'm not always going to get it right. But when I don't get it right, I am the first one to say, mea culpa, I'm sorry. I just didn't know. And I will apologize, right? I'm not that sister that's going to get on the air and have all this bravado and pretend like just because I'm a radio show host, I can't be corrected, because I can be. So that's it for that. So that's it. Yeah. So good afternoon to all of you. I'm getting over here to YouTube. I'm trying to make sure that happens. Let me get over here, Father. 500 screens. And my phone shut down this morning. We spend, the average cost of an iPhone is $1,200. And this morning, in the middle of talking to someone, my iPhone shut down. And it was down for 90 minutes. I kept saying to myself, oh, Lord. Fishman, University City, how are you?
Hey, I'm blessed by the best, and I try to spread them with the rest.
What's going on, sir?
We had a death penalty killed in Ardmore yesterday, selling ghost guns, and they're more. I'm talking about the media, news broadcasts are more concerned about the suspects of the crime than the peddler of
the guns.
of murder. 19-year-old out there in Ardmore, he's selling ghost guns, but they're more concerned about the perpetrators, the suspects, than the actual crime individual. Have a blessed day. I ain't gonna hold you. And guess what? I'm always listening. Always.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I so appreciate it. All right, have a good one. All right, what is 117? Mike from Abington, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Good show today.
Thank you, sir. What's going on?
You know, it's so frustrating. I think that people like me call your show, we're old heads. You know, we're the older guys that supposedly have had jobs and have our lives together. And I was going to put it out to you. I don't know if you can do this or other people in your show, but is there, or this station, is there ever a way to get more people on the line or talk to, or you could even make a feature where you're talking to people who are 18 years old to see their viewpoint? Because I got
Mike, I could kiss you. I could absolutely kiss you. And let me tell you why. It is a conversation that I have been having. I have been talking to young people. What I'd like to talk to are the ones who are out there doing the, like, and I don't want to put them, they don't want to come on to have the conversation, so I don't want to put them in the spotlight. But I have been having once a month a group called Bringing Everybody Together, filled with young people and their mentor. And they have been addressing what they're seeing going on in the streets, Mike. And what they're saying to us is this: we use social media, we get agitated when somebody says something, and then they go out there and they pull something, pull a knife, a gun, or whatever. Used to be in the old days, me and you, I'm assuming we're about the same age, we would settle a score by having an argument or having a fist fight, and it was over and done with.
That's right. That's right.
These folks are literally annihilating each other in the streets, Mike. I don't know what we can do. So I'm working on that again. I'm working on continuing to have conversations, not just with the young people that are doing all the right things, but the young people who are also struggling and trying to figure out what they're doing out here. And I also need to talk to some of these family members, but that's another story for another day, right?
Yeah,
So.
I think you're doing the good work. I think so. Remember that when you get those kids you're talking to, you're getting the kids that already have a step up in the right direction.
Yes.
And I know this sounds a little counterintuitive, but I'd like to hear from the kids that are in the thick of it and really are not going in the right direction right now, and ask them questions like, what in the God's name is going on out there? You know, my niece lives in Northern Liberty, and I got to be painfully honest with you. I want her out. I want her out of Philadelphia. All my friends, colleagues, doctors, whatever, that live in the city, getting out, it's bad. It's bad. I mean, you can have a beautiful house, you can live at the Ritz, or you can live at the Grand, but you walk out the door, you're at the same place everybody else is, and that means you can get shot very quickly.
Well, Mike, I want you to also know that just in Ardmore in Lower Merion a couple of days ago, same thing happened, right?
Absolutely.
So the violence is happening everywhere.
Yeah, a girl was shot 3 weeks ago in Old City at 12:30 in the afternoon.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
I mean, we need to work on this. We need to work on this.
I agree.
I grew up in this city.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you
Have a good
for.
one.
Yes. All right. Have a good one, my brother. Bye-bye. Whew, and so the show has begun. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Hello, Philadelphia. Switching to Geico is a good idea, especially when you consider everything.
First off, Geico makes it easy to switch, and you can contact your local agent for personalized assistance.
But having a trusted insurer in your life could make you feel so secure that you'll want to do something dangerous like run through a cactus patch, and that never ends well.
Well, if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds on car insurance, and you could keep saving by bundling your motorcycle, boat, and RV, plus your home or renter's insurance.
But saving money might make you want to giggle gleefully, and when your mouth's open, a stray acorn could fall in there. It happens a lot, actually.
Well, they do have an industry-leading mobile app you can use to pay your bill, file and manage a claim, or add a new driver. And they offer discounts to military and federal employees.
And that might make you so happy that you start whistling all the time. Who likes whistling? Name one person.
Well, Geico is the second largest car insurer in the country and has been saving people money for 85 years. It's hard to beat that.
But you're right.
Switch to Geico. It's obviously a good idea.
So many times we say to ourselves, I need to make a difference. Well, your chance is here. Center in the Park is holding a virtual volunteer event Friday, August 6, 2021 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Advocate for those who can't, support those who can, and ensure all long-term care residents live with dignity and respect. Register for this Ombudsman event at info@centerinthepark.org. We all feel better when we do something that matters and when we do something with purpose.
Berger Montague is a Philadelphia-based plaintiff's class action law firm committed to helping Philadelphia's Black community. Berger Montague maintains a strong commitment to fostering diversity and equity throughout the legal community and in society in general. In 2020, Berger Montague filed a pro bono case against the IRS when they refused to send COVID-19 stimulus checks to federal benefits recipients with dependent children. Thanks to Berger Montague, people across the United States were able to obtain dependent benefit checks that they desperately needed. Berger Montague supports WURD Radio and Philadelphia's Black community. For more information about Berger Montague Law Firm, please call 215-875-3033 or email at info@bm.net.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I am going to go back and tackle something that the Fishman said. That called in. He said, everybody's concentrating on the perpetrators and nobody's talking about where these guns are coming from. And he's absolutely right. That was a death penalty case. And so now all these families are in an uproar, living in a beautiful community, and what I keep hearing from folks is this should never happen here. These children didn't need to do whatever they're accused of doing, and folks are just all over the place, not quite sure what to do or how to handle it. And so I'm going to tell you this, because I am a mother of two brown babies. They're not babies, they're grown behind men. One of them just celebrated his first wedding anniversary yesterday. Let me just tell you this. Pay attention to your children, what they're saying to you and what they're not saying to you. Peer pressure is absolutely real. You don't know how they get into things and how they get out of things. I remember when my sons graduated from college, and they live in separate states now. They come back to visit me every once in a while, and I sat and had breakfast with them one morning, and they said, Mommy, there are just some things we see out here we would never tell you because you'd have a heart attack. But please understand that we're always very aware, always paying attention, and you've given us enough to let us know when we see something that's not going in the right direction, we are to exit stage left and never to turn around and look back. Sandra from, let me just make sure that I have this. Oh, my. Sandra from Oak Lane, how are you, madam?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. What can I do for you today?
All right, I wanted to share some information with you. On July 7th, the DA's office had a town hall meeting for the community. It was the 4th town hall meting. And at that meeting, solutions, ideas were being discussed, about the crime in Philadelphia, and also gun houses was the topic of gun houses was addressed.
Really? Thank you for letting me know that.
Yes. So what I'm asking, if it's possible, if you could have DA Larry Krasner or G. Lamar Stewart or Mr. Robert Listerby come on and talk about these town hall meetings that they're having throughout different communities. They're usually held at a church.
Yes.
The last one was at Triumph Baptist Church.
Okay. All right. Do you know where the next one is?
They have not advertised the next one. I usually get it by email.
Okay.
But if you contact G. Lamar Stewart, he will let you know when the next one is going to be.
Okay. Thank
you
you so much,
Ms.
Sandra.
Sandra. Email.
I will.
You're
I'll send him a message. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, okay?
You're welcome.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. JR from Cheltenham, how are you?
Yes, thank you, Andrea. I really appreciate the work that the station does, you individually, but collectively. Yes. I really think that it's a lifeline that, you know, we have to really be mindful that how valuable this lifeline is at this point in our history, in our modern day lives. Communication is vital, it's key. Andrea, I'm 69 years old. Okay, I'm talking 50 years ago, 1971. I worked for a summer in the Department of Human Relations for the city of Philadelphia, and I was assigned to review the affirmative action equal employment records. Abysmal. I mean, Brother Michael Coy has taken the task recently of reviewing the affirmative action and the employment records of the large corporations that are responsible for a lot of the money and our income that we submit to them voluntarily.
Right.
And so they should have equal responsibility, with public relations to, at least try to have a reasonable amount of employment, fair employment. And so you're younger, Michael's younger, but I'm 69. And when I worked that summer looking at the records for, large corporations, Coca-Cola, and at the time I think it was Sears, and looking at their records for white collar versus blue collar.
Right.
It was, if you look at those records, they haven't changed much. In 50 years, you're still looking at white collar jobs, probably less than 2% in this city and across the nation.
Yes.
And they were supposed to have affirmative action as a federal task to resolve or at least address the unequal employment in this country, but it faded, over the years.
So, Mr. JR, can I say something to you?
Yes,
because one of the things that I have learned living in Montgomery County for 30-something years, for almost 30 years, was this. When they start talking about task forces and creating committees, everything in my head just explodes, because that is code word for we're going to talk, we're going to meet, we're going to put some suggestions on the table, and then things fade away, right?
Yep.
If I am of the mindset that if you want to get something done, you will get something done. And so I get really agitated when I see these communities, these townships, these cities, these public officials who, have a bunch of meetings. Let's meet. Let's put the solutions on the table. But, where are the solutions? I know you're talking about them, but show me how they're working, right? Show me where you're putting your energy. So I'm not picking on D.A. Krasner because I see him. He, we gave out X amount of dollars to this group and X amount, and he's not giving money to the groups that everybody talks about that are, out there grabbing for money. He's giving money to the groups that are on the ground. He has a whole piece in his office, which I'm thinking, that shouldn't even, I don't know if that should have been in the district attorney's office, but somewhere else where, you know, the crime victims unit, where the people have somewhere to go to, they're talking to folks. It's just a lot. And so I want to see more of the solutions being enacted versus the solutions being talked about. Does that make sense, Mr. J.R.?
Thank you. So that's exactly my point, Andrea, that we have to make our politicians, you know, who ultimately, you know, dictate where our tax dollars go, more responsible. Why isn't this a topic that's being addressed by these politicians, these Congress people, these representatives, you know? And I guess it's incumbent upon us to be more vocal and communicate, as I was saying, you know, this lifeline to communicate these ideas to our politicians and the people that, you know, have sacrificed that go before us and that went before us and suffered and died, you know, so that we could be in this position now where, you know, they're kind of like, they're trying to put the daggone chains back in our legs, Andrea. I mean,
they're not trying. They're not trying, Mr. Jarrett. They have found ways.
Yeah.
You know.
So,
and when I say the proverbial they, I mean the folks who are in positions of power, and often, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes it's black folks, right? Who have been given a leg up in life, getting a certain amount of money, and then start out well, and next thing you know, they've compromised themselves, and they find themselves going down a rabbit hole because once you start compromising, it's hard to stop compromising. You know what I'm saying?
That's the definition of a politician, you know, the sellouts. I mean, let's call them for what they are, you know. I mean, the ones that used to snap the whips are the same guys, the gatekeepers now that they put in place, the Clarence Thomases, I'm calling them out. You know, and the Scots down in South Carolina that have sold us out, and we just have to be more diligent about calling them to task, about calling them, you know, to be responsible. And so, you know, I do what I can. You know, I've been following Michael Cord for so many years, and Dr. Asante. You know, these leaders in our community, Brother Saladin Ali. These brothers are leaders, you know. They're following the footsteps of Leon Sullivan and Cecil B. Moore. And so we have to, you know, just be very appreciative and grateful and thankful for their support and for their leadership. I won't hold up because, you know, I don't want to be one of those guys that, I don't tell you how much I love you, you know, but I still love you and I still love the station. You know, I have some issues that I had with the station, but I have to look in the mirror and say, hey, you can't let that stop you. You know, you have to put your voice out there and let people know that you have to be careful about the information that you get over the airways and over the internet.
You are absolutely right, and which is why I tell folks all the time, Mr. J.R., if you listen to this show, and it sounds like you listen to it, I tell folks all the time, thank you for sharing. I write down and I do my research. I don't dismiss anybody out of hand, but I don't take sides either, right? Because my journalistic integrity says I am to hear what they're saying, go ask some questions, do a little bit of digging, and find out what I need to get. So it's a lot going on out here, a lot. But thank you for calling, sir. I fully appreciate it, okay?
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Michael Cord is one of those brothers who I fully appreciate. He stands on his own. He speaks his mind. He understands that it does not make him popular, but you never will find him kowtowing within the city confines or elsewhere to compromise himself and to get where he needs to get to. A brother like that, I will spend time around. A brother like that, I can appreciate. You understand what I'm saying? If I walk into a room and your energy gives off shucking and jiving and all the other stuff, I'm going to be pleasant. I will always be pleasant. I'll even tell you to have a great day, but I'm going in the other direction because it just doesn't bode well for us. And we have to, you know, we all want to do well in this life. We all want to live above where we grew up, how we grew up. We all want to make sure that we get to another space and time. But there are ways to do this. There are ways to do this that doesn't mean compromising yourself. I'm telling you, there are ways to do it this way. Vanessa, Philadelphia. How are you, Vanessa? How are you? Vanessa? Hello? Michael, can you hear her? Because I can't hear her at all. Maybe she'll call back. Michael, let me know if you can hear her, please. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. How are you?
Oh, I'm well. I'm well.
What can I do for you?
Well, I wanted to call in and just talk about the violence in the community. It's really been on my heart, like it has been on so many people in Philadelphia. And yesterday evening, I rode through a neighborhood that I know at least 4 young men had been murdered in the same neighborhood that were friends of my family. And I rode through last night just to see what was going on, and I noticed that there are hardly any city lights working in the neighborhood. And I asked some of the young people, I said, how do you feel about all the lights being out? And they said, we're scared to death because, you know, people can get shot day and night. But at least at day you can see what's coming your way. But at night around here, you don't know what's going to happen because you can't see at all. And I was just surprised
are there
that in
street
the
lights?
area.
Can I ask you this question, Ms. Vanessa? My apologies for cutting you off. Are there street lights, but the lights are out, or are there no street lights at all?
The street lights are out. They're not working properly.
Okay. Can you share with me what part of the community without, like, giving me?
Yeah, sure. It's in the Mill Creek section along Lancaster Avenue. There's a park there that sits near Westminster and Wyalusing. And as you drive around the neighborhood, there's so many lights that are just out.
No lights. Okay. So the city officials that are listening, and I know some of you are, there are lights out in the Mill Creek section on Lancaster Avenue. The young people are frightened at nighttime. Please go replace those light bulbs in those lights for them. Please. I spoke of Newtown Avenue, and Sherelle Parker, Councilmember Sherelle Parker, responded right away, and I'm sure I haven't gone back there to see if the trash and debris has been removed. But if the people are calling in and asking to feel safer, and if it's something as simple as changing the light bulbs, making sure that the light bulbs are working, can we do this, please, at Mill Creek, the Mill Creek section of the park on Lancaster Avenue? Is there anything else you'd like to share with me, Ms. Vanessa?
You know, there's so many ways to fight crime and to fight violence, and quality of life is a big issue. And you've been on your show and helping to get the trash and the lights and things like that is vital. And you don't really think about it when you think about gun violence, but those are issues that foster gun violence in our community. So I just want to say thank you for using this platform to do that. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the lack of money that seems to be available for the small mom and pops, the grandmoms that used to run trips in the summer for the children, used to have block activities for their kids. All that money seems to have dried up, and those things kept children in safe places and safe environments. And I just hope that somebody listening in city government that has their hand on the purse strings would remember those days. It was only like 10, 15 years ago when there was always a flyer going through the community. They were taking the children to some amusement park, or there was some kind of activity going on. I haven't seen a flyer with hardly anything of any real substance in a long time. And we have to go back to building our communities back up.
I agree, Ms. Vanessa, but I also want to share with you that they are there. They've just been so browbeaten and dismissed, right, for larger institutions. Millions of dollars are coming into the cities for gun violence, and it's when you see mostly churches, right, showing up to make sure that they have a piece of the pie. But you are absolutely right. What about the young, the smaller folks who are in the city, who are always taking that child out to summer camps, making sure those children are okay, and helping them? I agree with you. Thank you so much for calling, okay?
Sure, thank you. All right,
oh,
have a
you're
good
welcome.
day.
All right, you're welcome. Bye-bye. I need to go to break, but I have to. Jean Smith, I don't know you either, Jean Smith, but you are on something here. She said, good afternoon, Andrea. I don't know you personally. However, I've heard some of the most inspiring accolades about you from some of your mentees, the most recent one being former WURD producer, Nakia Ngakia. I believe that you're a humble but no-nonsense, solutions-driven woman. I sincerely appreciate you. Ngakia is someone that was introduced to me about 3.5, 4 years ago, who had, she's super smart but was so unsure of herself. And this is why I say mentors are important. You're absolutely right, Ms. Jean Smith. There are things you will never know from my talking on the radio, and people will probably tell you this, but I love the young people, and I've been mentoring them very quietly for a long time, and she's absolutely right. I am no nonsense. Absolutely. Well, when they come to me, they understand that I'm going to to wrap my arms around them, but I'm also going to hold their feet to the fire too, to make sure that they stay out of trouble and out of harm's way. And so thank you for that compliment. I fully appreciate it. I'm going to take a break, and then I'll be back to get the other callers. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Star Fusion Express is Philly's first choice when cravings for big, juicy burgers, crispy chicken sandwiches, delicious wings, crisp salads, creamy mac and cheese, innovative spring rolls, and delectable fresh seafood kicks in. Did you hear that? Star Fusion Express at 5178 Parkside Avenue in West Philly is your go-to for fresh, flavorful, homemade deliciousness 7 days a week. Learn more and check out the menu at starfusionrestaurant.com. That's starfusionrestaurant.com for the best burgers, chicken sandwiches, wings, salads, spring rolls, and fresh seafood creations in Philly's Parkside neighborhood. Holla!
Join Nick Taliaferro Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. for a very special simulcast conversation on WURD and WVON Radio in Chicago. Hosted by WURD's own Nick Taliaferro and WVON's Matt McGill and Kimberly E. Goen on the impact of violence in Philadelphia and Chicago. That's Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com. Simulcast on WVON. Two of the only black-owned talk radio stations in the nation join forces for a powerful and timely conversation. The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Before I take my next two callers, Lola Khan writes over here on YouTube. I'm watching you all over here too, so thank you so much. Malcolm is over here, and I see Gary Thomas. And Lola, I was talking about the gun violence, and Lola says some of the gun houses are in some of the nicest areas. Black people are not bringing those guns on for where black people lived. Young men ruined in that Ardmore case. A young white man was running a meth house in Montgomery County, a few blocks from where I live, also selling high-powered guns. They are flooding the inner cities. And so Malcolm says gun sales were going like crazy in the 90s. Once upon a time, I knew people that were sold out of They were sold out of bars, nightclubs, and after-hour spots. So the stuff that I'm talking about is continuing to happen, and the families are talking to me about, how easy it is for their children to purchase what they call a ghost gun. And so if they're talking to me, and if folks know this in the community, we have to figure out a way, and they're absolutely right. Some of these gun houses are the nicest. George said it, in the nicest place. You would have never suspect that guns were coming out of those houses, right? So you all have to figure out what you want to do. Sadie from Sharon Hill, how are you?
Hi, Andrea. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. What can I do for you?
Yes, I've been thinking about this for quite some time, basically since President Biden spoke about lifting families out of poverty and the monthly increase that parents will be getting depending on the number of children they have and what ages they are. So he said that this is it's already been signed into law, and this supposedly is going to go up until December. And my concern is right now when families are getting, $300, $600, $900 more a month that they've not had, the purpose is to lift them out of poverty. And we can't be in people's business and say, well, you should do this or you should not do that, of how to spend their money. But I'm just thinking in terms of how can we as a community help families get lifted out of poverty if they've not been shown kind of like how to budget or how to spend their money more wisely.
Can I tell you this?
Yes.
Let me tell you this.
Yes.
At 3 o'clock, I have someone coming on to talk about that very thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Really?
I'm so in tune with all of you. I'm telling you, and we're going to talk about that child money that they're getting. How can we budget, spend versus yes, ma'am? I'm on it. I am on it. See, because I can't get on the air and just blah 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 and pontificate and blah 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 blah. I can't do it. What are the solutions for our people in this community? Right. So it's coming. It's coming today at 3 o'clock. I got you. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome, my sister. You have a good one. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right,
Bye-bye. Marie from Mount Airy, how are you?
Hi, Andrea. I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How can I help you?
So I'm hoping that you got me, too. So this is my dilemma. And I think it's simple, but I seem to be getting nowhere. So, you know the valve to your main line water that's out on your property?
Lord.
So I had a plumber come out because I needed a shut-off valve replaced in my basement. And then I said to him, where is my main valve outside? He said, oh, you have to call the water company and have them come out and locate it. And I said, wow, because my neighbor's is right there. It shows. It's obvious. And I do have a patch of ivy on my grass, and I don't know if it's up underneath of that or what. So I called the water company. They said, you need to call the plumber. So I feel like I'm being bounced back and forth like a tennis ball.
Miss Marie, so my husband and I had a similar set of circumstances. We bought, and so now I need the water company to listen to me. See, I don't. We bought the insurance that covers your underwater piping all the way out to the street, et cetera, right? And we had what we probably considered was a blockage. And so we called them. Can I tell you the amount of runaround that we got? The amount of run around. And they told us we had to pay somebody. Now, remember, we're paying for insurance.
Right.
We had to pay somebody to locate certain things under the ground. So we're like, well, so what are we paying for? If we needed to have a dig up done, we'd have to pay for the dig up, and then they would replace the pipe. So, and they're very, the people that we dealt with were very irresponsible, and not professional at all. And so I agree with you. So let me make some phone calls, all right? Because we had the same issue. We ended up, believe it or not, after 8 weeks of runaround with the Philadelphia Water Department and the plumbers that the ridiculous lackadaisical plumbers that they were sending to us for weeks on end, we ended up deciding to come out of pocket, Miss Marie, and we called another plumbing company. White guy comes out, snakes through, and pulls something out and says, this is what was blocking up your thing. You don't need to replace your pipes. We're talking thousands of dollars. And not only that, he didn't charge us a dime. He said they were wasting your time and your energy. See what I'm saying? But we had lazy people who would show up and say, well, I can't make it work, and it don't work. And they sent a text message that they showed up when they never showed up. My husband, it was insane. And so there's a lack of professionalism with these employees that are working with us. So if somebody from the Philadelphia Water Department is listening, Miss Marie needs to figure out where the main line, the main valve is to her property. And can somebody tell her definitively what she needs to do? Because I know for certain when we talk to the plumber says the water department has to tell you where your main valve is. So you are absolutely right. Okay, so let's figure out how we can get them to pay attention. We are, everybody listening and shaking their heads, but do your jobs. Do your jobs.
Absolutely.
Because not everybody's going to be able to afford to get somebody to come and do what you should have done, what we're paying for. It doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Miss Marie.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're
Have a good day.
absolutely welcome. All right, you too. Bye-bye. Oi, 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 oi. You're going to see things I wasn't going to talk about, but see what's affecting you all is affecting us too, and it was just horrible. The Philadelphia Inquirer wrote this, and I'm looking at Sakar Johnson Sr. Remember his son that was killed over the July 4th weekend? It's only July 11th, right? So you do understand that we're dealing with some serious issues here. Philly's gun violence crisis has surpassed a bleak milestone with 10,000 people shot since 2015. So this ain't all Commissioner Outlaw's watch now. So I'm going to just need y'all to, let's talk about this and be about this if we're going to address this. Even in a city that has been long plagued with violence, the epidemic of gun crime has hit a level unmatched in recent memory, a pace that began last summer and has persisted since. This is written by Chris Palmer, Dylan Purcell, and Anna Orso. So it's a series, they're writing a whole series called Under Fire about Philadelphia's recent unchecked gun violence. Philadelphia this week passed another bleak milestone of bloodshed as 10,000 people have now been killed or wounded in shootings in the city since 2005. The year police began routinely posting gun violence statistics online. The mark was eclipsed during a week in which the city's shooting crisis continued at an unrelenting pace. In the first 8 days of July, 77 people were struck by gunfire, including a 63-year-old woman injured in a double shooting in Kensington, a 30-year-old man killed in a quintuple shooting in East Mount Airy, and a 16-year-old fatally shot in a North Philadelphia homicide that also left a 15-year-old wounded. Even in a city that has for decades been plagued with violence, the epidemic of gun crime has hit a new level unmatched in recent memory, a pace that began last summer and has been unsettlingly persistent in the months since. One example, just past the midway point of 2021, only one day has passed without someone getting shot. Let me read that again. Just past the midway point of 2021, only one day has passed without someone getting shot. But there have been 30 days in which 10 or more people have been killed or wounded by bullets, an occurrence that was a relative rarity as recently as 2 years ago. The sustained surge has overwhelmingly hurt black and brown communities and is evident by nearly any metric. The city's mid-year homicide total in 2021, the vast majority of which were gun killings, was the highest in at least 60 years. My God. City leaders, including Mayor Jim Kenney, Police Commissioner Daniel Outlaw, and District Attorney Larry Krasner, have each repeatedly blamed the spike on structural factors exacerbated by the pandemic, including Philadelphia's high levels of poverty, underfunded schools and joblessness, and underemployment. City health officials released data last week showing a strong relationship between zip codes with high levels of gun violence and chronic unemployment. Criminologists also point out that homicides and shootings have surged across the country over the last year, a volatile time marked by COVID-19 lockdowns, an economic crisis, a national racial reckoning, and an accompanying debate over law enforcement's role in society, all as gun sales skyrocketed nationwide. In Pennsylvania, state police reported an unprecedented volume of background checks for firearms purchases over the last year, nearly 1.5 million in total. David Abrams, a University of Pennsylvania law professor who tracks crime statistics, said it is really tough to disentangle all of the possible factors, especially because at the same time other types of offenses such as robberies and assaults decreased in many cities, including Philadelphia. Shooting and homicides took a different pattern from most other types of crime in mid-2020, and that to me is a big challenge here, he said. Kenney said during a virtual briefing on Wednesday that he hoped the city would benefit from a fuller resumption of services as the pandemic wanes. He also has high hope for non-policing anti-violence initiatives funded in the city's new budget, including $20 million in grants. For community organizations and a strategy called Group Violence Intervention, which aims to engage with potential shooters and victims by offering access to social services. He said that initiative can interact more freely now that the pandemic is subsiding. David Mohammed, executive director of the nonprofit National Institute for Criminal Justice Reform, said he believed the sudden shutdown of such intensive in-person violence interruption efforts in cities last year due to COVID-19 was among the biggest factors contributing to the surge of shootings nationwide. Still, the mayor said that even though the worst effects of the pandemic may be in the rearview mirror, the trauma and fallout are still with us and probably going to be with us for another 5, 7, 10 years. My Lord, Lord. Let me take a quick break and come right back. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Are you an educator looking for a life-changing opportunity? Youth Build Philly Charter School might be the home for you. Apply to Youth Build to join a family of educators dedicated to learning and growing with young people. Check out current opportunities at youthbuildphilly.org or follow them on social media at YouthBuildPHL. Join Youth Build today. Youth Build is now accepting applications for the class of 2021.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
Pandemic COVID-19. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a serious time. You know, we are at a strange time in our lives when we have to make decisions, really important decisions about our lives and the lives of our family and our friends and neighbors and strangers. And you know, making decisions like that is no play. So I'm going to say this little rap for you. We call it a poem or a rap. I hope that when I'm finished saying it, you'll be able to say it also. Pandemic time, the vaccine is free. Get your vaccination as quick as can be. The Delta variant may be a new concern. Be willing to take time. Be willing to learn. And I'm going to tell you something. We all better be willing to learn, and we all better be willing and ready to take that vaccine. This is no playtime. And I would say from the bottom of my heart, amen, amen, and amen.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD. Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Of Maurice and Prince on the line. Michael, I think it's Maurice that I have first. Prince, I'm going to ask you to call back around 2:20 after I'm finished with my segment at 2 o'clock, okay? So that because I don't want you to hold on for all that time. So call me back at 2:20. Maurice, how are you, sir?
Hey, I hear you sounding like the Grim Reaper.
Do you want to call back at 2:22?
No, I want to get mine in quick.
Okay, all right, okay,
I want to tell you what it is. Let me tell you. Did you know that 31 people got shot this weekend? Mm-hmm. The thing I'm trying to tell people is it's not a gun problem. It's a black-on-black problem. People want to argue it down because we don't say white on white. If white people were killing at the rate we are in this city, we would be saying, why are white people killing white people? Mm-hmm. But we don't want to say that because we too black to be smart. We can't see the tree for the forest. Mm-hmm. The problem is when Senator Streets was out there with them crocodile tears, crying about his wife's relative. How come he wasn't crying about all these children before that and all these women getting murdered? He wasn't crying then. But he had the nerve to get up there and start crying from not even a relative of his wife's relative. He wants to get up there and pretend he's upset. I want to go up there and smack his face. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm tired of the nonsense. We done missed the opportunity to get these kids to have an opportunity with something to do. It's too late for a summer jobs program. They start school in August. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to invest that money, invest a lot of that money in the school program. The school is start from there. Start with the after-school programs. Mm-hmm. Start with some real job training. Yes. Start with some classes and try to make a difference. Mm-hmm. I'm just so tired of us always not trying to say it's not our fault. We black, we strong. No, we're not. If we we wouldn't be killing each other.
So, Maurice, but the killings are happening, I think, in part because of the frustration not having all the things that we
Don't
need
go
to have,
across
right?
the nation.
Wait. Listen. I listen to you. Give Mama a chance, right? Give Mother a chance.
Oh yeah, I'm going to my mama mood now.
I met a black electrician this morning, sister.
Right.
And there's a guy, and his name is escaping me now. He has this electrician school that he's teaching. Some of that money, all that millions, some of that should go straight to him because he is creating spaces for young people to have access to making a living where they don't have to go through all of this. And they don't have to have, he said, if you have a GED, it's good. You don't have to have a high school diploma. He'll get them in and get them trained so that they can earn some money. People who are making money and have a way to sustain themselves usually don't get themselves caught up in gun crime. Okay, so I agree with you. I gotta go. Call me back because I have a guest now. But call me back, okay?
All right, I'll do that because I'm in my mom, and I apologize for trying to overtalk. I apologize.
Thank you, Maurice. I'll talk to you at 2:20. Bye, my love. Bye. All right, so yes, spoiler in for me, please. We got to talk about this because I did a whole manifesto on events and people going to different places, and some of y'all just don't know how to behave. So Randy Hayes Martin has been creating gorgeous, swanky, and indulgent events celebrating all types of occasions since 2006. She's energetic and enthusiastic about each and every event as if it were her own. And so she comes on to talk about Slay Your Day. And Lord Jesus, Randy, the people are not acting right out here in these streets. Good afternoon, honey. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you quite fine.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm doing well. How are you?
It's a hot day in Philadelphia. So you know what that is. So just give us an update because parties are happening. I had to go to a baby shower this weekend. She gave people the option to do online or to show up. I didn't get an option. She's like, Mova, I need you to come through. And so I went and I was sitting out there. I walked in and I was like, yeah, I'm going outside. Because, COVID is still, I don't know why people think COVID just up and decided to go away and say, goodbye, so long, farewell, adieu. And I'm also seeing that, Randy, now people are saying things from the CDC that if you're going to be in certain spaces, even if you're outside and it's lots and lots of people, wear your masks, right, in certain instances.
Right.
Children who are not yet vaccinated, et cetera, et cetera. So give us an idea of what is happening now and what do we need to know and what protocols should we follow as we plan these outlandish events we couldn't plan in 2020.
So first thing I want to say is that the individual venues have different rules. So it is very important for everyone to check with their venue to find out what their guidelines are. There are some venues that will have signage that says, if you are fully vaccinated, then you don't need to wear a mask, but they are leaving it up to the guests to be honest about that. So if you personally have strong feelings about whether or not people wear masks, you can tell your guests what your expectation is as opposed to leaving it up to the venue. There are other venues who are still abiding by everyone, if you're indoors, must wear a mask. So it really varies from place to place and from state to state. So in Pennsylvania versus New Jersey versus Delaware, all rules are not equal when it comes to indoor events. When it comes to outdoor events, I agree with what you said about there being children who are not fully vaccinated yet. I believe that is anybody who's under the age of 12 cannot yet be vaccinated. So if you are a parent, you want to make sure that your children are safe. You also don't want to be in those environments where you're not protecting yourself and then you bring that home to your child. So just, use caution. Be careful, be safe, continue to wash your hands and all those things that we've been doing for the past year and a half.
And carry your wipes with you. Oy. So
Oy.
I'm still I'm going places watching people walk into the bathroom, use it, and come right back out and not wash their hands. And I'm saying these viruses are running amok amongst us. When we do the research, because I'm always reading, right? So the Delta variant, they're saying, doesn't even show up with a fever.
Right.
Straight to your lungs, right? So, people are looking for the symptoms that they know to be true when COVID first hit SARS, COVID first hit the shores here back in early 2020. I don't get it. So how many people are there? Are the venues now asking people to still have a certain amount of folks, or is it just everything free for all now?
No, all of the venues are fully at full capacity now. So there aren't any that I'm aware of that are required to have less than 100% capacity.
And so with people having to postpone and move their stuff ahead, what are you suggesting for them now for planning for a wedding? How much time do they need now to plan for?
Well, good question, because normally I would say 12 to 18 months. Right now I'm going to say plan for 2 years out, because all of those people who have postponed their weddings from 2020 have pretty much taken up all the 2021 dates.
Right.
People who originally planned for 2021 have 2021 dates.
Okay.
And so you're going to be looking at 2022 and beyond for availability. A lot of people who have been waiting are jumping on those dates right away. If you want a Saturday, that's like,
as they say in New York, forget about it.
Right, pretty much. Pretty much. Unless you are going to a unique venue that does not traditionally do weddings or special events, then you might have a chance. But those popular venues like the Chess Cafe venues in Center City, or even a lot of hotels, won't have availability.
Okay. So let's say they're doing a destination wedding. I happen to know that these islands are not playing. Like, these islands are saying to folk, can y'all not bring your germs here? For instance, man went to Jamaica the other day. I could not stop. I heard this story. I was talking to my sisters last night, and she said the man comes to Jamaica, and he's in a resort, and for some event, a wedding or something, they ask him to wear his mask. He tells them he is fully vaccinated, and in America, he don't have to wear his mask, and he's not wearing his mask there. They put him out. He goes to the nearest police station. Now, you all have to remember that when you're traveling to islands and to other places, the laws that govern them are completely different from the laws that govern what happens in the United States. He gets in the police station. The policeman says to him, "Sir, before I can talk to you, put on your mask." He tells the policeman the same thing. After asking him 3 times, the policeman picked him out, threw him out outside, and they were like, "You got to get off this island," right? So you have to be mindful. When people are traveling for their destination weddings, what advice do you have for them as it applies to following these protocols?
First, they need to know what those protocols are. So please be informed if you are going to a destination and you are investing money for a destination wedding, that you are clear on what the requirements are, because you don't want your event to be canceled. You don't want to be removed from the property, nor do you want any of your guests who paid to be at your wedding to have to be removed. So find out what they are. I strongly suggest people doing a wedding website where you can inform all of your guests about this information in one spot. So when you send out your save the dates, give them the URL for your website. Continue to update your website with all of this information, as well as the link for their hotel accommodations and things to do on the island. But absolutely let them know about what the rules are.
And also on the islands, you're right, many islands still have curfews.
Yes.
People are just really acting up. Please tell me, what is the protocol for tipping? Father? You see, you got the dead silence there. Tell folks what is the protocol for tipping the wait staff, the protocol for tipping the venue, if any at all, the protocol for even, tipping the event planner.
So I strongly recommend that you tip everybody who has provided a service to you during your special event. When it comes to the venue and the wait staff, sometimes the contract already has the gratuity built in, but if it does not, then you should make sure that you are giving 20%, just like you would at a restaurant. And know that tip, that gratuity is being divided amongst several people. So it would be the banquet captain, all of the servers, the bartenders, etc.
Right.
If there is somebody who did exemplary service and you want to give them extra, then you do that yourself discreetly. Don't include that in the bulk, because the bulk is divided equally.
Right. Got you.
As far as the other vendors that you hire, your photographer, your DJ, your event planner, those people who are there for you for several hours, you want to make sure that you are providing a gratuity to those people as well as their assistants. Often they come with an assistant. So there has been some.
In other words, if you can't afford a party, don't do a party.
Well, definitely include gratuities in your budget. Okay. Definitely do that. Okay. Now, there are some websites and magazines who say that if the vendor owns the company, that you don't need to tip them. I say that that is not accurate, because often the owner of the company is not taking a payment for that event specifically. They're using your payment to pay their staff. Right. So, for example, if your DJ comes with an assistant or two, depending on the size and how much equipment needs to be moved around, the staff is going to get paid their salary, their hourly rate, right? But it's usually close to minimum wage, so you want to give a tip to them. Yeah. But the owner of the company, if they are the DJ, they're taking care of their people first, and then they keep whatever's left over. So you want to make sure that you are tipping everybody.
I think I owe you about $100. I'm going to make right on that one, because I think I missed a couple of things. Well, okay, I got you. See, as I'm learning, I'm doing better, right?
Right.
Randy has been phenomenal, and you did a yeoman's job for our wedding. We made sure that your flights were paid for, et cetera, but I don't remember tipping you after that night.
That's okay. You have paid me back in all of your testimonials about how fabulous I am.
No. If I'm going to talk about it, I need to be about it. So, I owe you some coins. And it's so funny because I was tipping everybody else, making sure all the people that were doing what they were supposed, but I was loving up on you, and then you were dancing and having yourself such a good time. But
I did. I had a great time.
Lumped you in with everybody else in the family. All right, but okay, so they tip appropriately. Make sure you tip the DJ. Make sure you tip the assistants that are working with the DJ. It's the same thing with the event planners and the staff that's at where the event is happening. Is there anything else we need to know?
So that tipping just goes across the board for everybody that you have hired. Okay. And again, if there's somebody who goes above and beyond and does exemplary service, then you tip them additional accordingly. Other things to know is vendor meals. So if you're having an event where you have people working for you for several hours through dinner time, it is customary to provide them with a meal that the caterer will not charge full price for.
Right.
So, for example, if it's a wedding and you have your
The National Weather Service has issued a flash flood warning for Burlington County, New Jersey, plus the following Pennsylvania counties: Bucks and Philadelphia. Effective until 6:42 p.m., the National Weather Service in Mount Holly has issued a flash flood warning for northwestern Burlington County in southern New Jersey, southeastern Bucks County in southeastern Pennsylvania, northeastern Philadelphia County in southeastern Pennsylvania, until 6:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 2:12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between 0.5 and 1 inch of rain has fallen. Additional rainfall amounts of 2 to 3 inches are possible in the warned area. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. Hazard: flash flooding caused by thunderstorms. Source: radar. Impact, flooding of small creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets, and underpasses as well as other drainage and low-lying areas. Some locations that may experience flash flooding include Philadelphia, Bensalem, Willingboro, Florence, Burlington, Bristol, Riverside, Palmyra, Bordentown, Beverly, and Tullytown. This includes the following highways: New Jersey Turnpike between exits 6 and 7A, Pennsylvania Turnpike between mile markers 350-359, Interstate 95 in Pennsylvania between mile markers 27 and 40. Interstate 295 W Jersey between mile markers 48 and 57. Precautionary/preparedness actions. Motorists should not attempt
and they pay for this and they pay for that. They don't have to tip. And tipping is incredibly essential. And you must take care of the people that are working with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there's nothing else that I want to add to that. I think you covered that, especially talking about Robert. You covered that incredibly. So yes, that is absolutely correct. And I want people to not think that just because someone owns a business that they're well off. Right? Owning a business does not make you rich at all.
Yep. So good. Thank you. Tell people how they can reach you, please.
I can be reached at Trilogy Event Design on Facebook and on Instagram. My website is trilogyeventdesign.com. My number, 800-941-2770.
If you all ever want to see Randy's work, go and you're on my Facebook page. Go look. That wedding where there was the only orange wedding dress and everybody else.
The orange wedding dress.
That was Randy. She flew in a couple of days before we got there. Where did you find those big, beautiful orange flowers? I still don't know what you did. You're like a magical fairy.
I contacted the florist on the island and told her exactly what I wanted.
Yep. Because I called her and I said, Randy, I'm going to have instant bridesmaids. And I told her what I wanted to do, that these people were not going to know, and that when I walked down the sand to my husband, I wanted to be able to take these beautiful flowers, and that she chose orange. And I was handing all these stunned women orange flowers, like, can you stand with me? Can you stand with me? They had on, just everybody had on white except me. And it was such a beautiful event, and Randy made sure everything went off without a hitch. I also like how calm you are in the face of all kinds of foolishness, because I think I was going to choke somebody when I got there on the island that night.
Yes, ma'am, you were. And I magically appeared and blocked all that, right?
I sent you a text, and because, in public, I am not raising my voice to people. I am not doing any of those things. I just looked at her and gave her the eyeball, and I quietly said, you're going to fix this. That's all I said. And Randy appeared, and she was shaking. I'm like, why are you shaking? I didn't holler at you. I didn't, I wasn't a bridezilla. I just said you're going to fix it. That's it. Quietly.
That's it. That's it.
So, yeah. But thank you, honey. You have been amazing. I have seen you do several events. If you ever want to request Randy and her team, it's 1-800-941-2770. She is Trilogy Event Design on Facebook and Instagram, and her website is trilogyeventdesign.com. Did I get it all right?
You got it. Thank you so much.
Bye. You're so welcome. Talk to you soon, okay?
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right. Yeah. I'm going to take a break. I have until 3 o'clock before we have the segment that is sponsored by WSFS Bank. I just want to thank them for this, because we're doing financial literacy, helping people to walk through the getting themselves together, keeping themselves together. When you're young, middle age, older, how do you create those spaces? And so Ms. Demetria Davenport will be on to talk about what are you going to do with that child tax credit? How do you save your money? What are you spending versus what are you bringing in? How are you managing all of that? And so I'm really excited to have that conversation at 3 o'clock. So I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, I'm sure Maurice and Prince will call back in. But the phone lines will be open, 215-634-8065. You are listening to The Source. We will be right back after these messages.
More than joint replacement, it's total joint care. Einstein Orthopedics offers minimally invasive, same-day procedures like anterior hip replacement and knee replacement surgery. Our board-certified surgeons and dedicated team will give you personalized care every step of the way. From your first appointment to surgery to post-procedure follow-up care, Einstein Orthopedics offers everything you need to get moving again. Visit einstein.edu/totaljoint to learn more. Financial Literacy on WURD is brought to you by WSFS Bank. For more information on boosting your financial know-how, visit the Knowledge Center at WSFSbank.com. WSFS Bank, we stand for service.
The holistic colonoscopy. No IV sedation. Your colonoscopy is due. You don't have someone to drive you home. You don't want to drink the prep. You don't want to be sedated with the Michael Jackson drug propofol. Does that sound like you? Call Blake Gastroenterology at 215-849-4902. Visit the website www.jsblake.com and make your appointment today. Drive yourself home after the holistic colonoscopy.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDRadio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. While I wait for Prince and Maurice to call back in, because I can set my watch by those two. And I may faint if I don't hear from George, because, you know, I just wanted to, I want to finish reading this article about the gun violence in Philadelphia. Odessa Blocker, 47, is familiar with lingering trauma. Her son, Albert Thomas Lee Jr., 27, known to his friends and family as Albie, was fatally shot last year in Point Breeze, caught in the crossfire of an ongoing neighborhood conflict she said he had nothing to do with. A 2016 graduate of Kutztown University, Lee worked at Edible Arrangements for years, his mother said, and had recently joined the local electricians union. Despite Lee's growing up in a neighborhood like so many in Philadelphia, where generations, old group rivalries have led to retaliatory shootings, Blocker said her son had worked hard to choose a different path. He was the kid that went to college, went to work every day, she said. He always left when everybody else went right. I just talked about that with my children. Always went left when everybody else went right. On July 5th, 2020, 2 days after a 24-year-old man was fatally shot on the 2400 block of Oakford Street, law enforcement sources believe gunmen seeking revenge went to 17th and Wharton Streets and opened fire. Lee was there and was struck several times. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Another man was struck in the back but survived. In the years since, Blocker has sought to find ways to remain positive, but the loss of her son is still deeply painful, especially because no one has been charged with his killing. I just want justice for my son, she said. I don't want him to be just another black man that was murdered, because he was so much more than that. Even those families who have had some semblance of justice are left with overwhelming grief. Tahara Tate, 41, lost her 17-year-old son, Tysheen Cheney, on March 16, 2017, when he was shot several times on a residential block in Cobbs Creek. Days later, police arrested 17-year-old Ma King Stewart, who had mutual friends with Cheney. Police said Stewart went on a days-long robbery rampage before killing Cheney. He pleaded guilty to murder and was sentenced to at least 20 years behind bars. But there's little satisfaction for Tate and her 5 children, who find themselves missing their son and brother on holidays and birthdays, or crying together when one of them has a dream about Sheen. They're reminded of him when they go by John Bartram High School, where he attended, or when they see a Five Guys burger joint where he held an after-school job. For Tate, the relentlessness of gun violence in the city has made it hard to take time to grieve for her son, killed 2 months before his 18th birthday. In the 4 years since his death, more loved ones, a nephew, a friend's son, a neighbor, have been fatally shot. It's ongoing every day, she said. When do you have time? Lee and Cheney were like so many of the city's gun violence victims, young black men from neighborhoods long deprived of services and opportunity. Nearly 94% of the 10,000 people shot since 2015 were black or brown, according to the city's data. 94%. 3/4 of the victims, my God. 3/4 of the victims were black males. And though those under 18 have generally made up a small share of the victims, the number of young people killed or wounded has risen sharply in the last 2 years. Through Thursday, 21 of them have been fatally shot in the city in 2021, more than the annual total in the 5 of the last 6 years. The 10,000 incidents were a result of criminal activity, such as homicides, aggravated assaults, and robberies, and generally do not include accidents, suicides, or shootings by police. The data do not identify victims or say where they are from, but the locations of the shootings show that they're concentrated. Just show how they're concentrated. They have been in pockets of Kensington, North Philadelphia, and West Philadelphia, communities that for decades have suffered from a lack of quality schools, job opportunities, and systemic disinvestment. Erica Atwood, director of the city's Office of Policy and Strategic Initiatives for Criminal Justice and Public Safety, said that gun violence is a symptom of those conditions and that the city must address them both in the immediate and long term. The Kenney administration has touted what it's called the $68 million in anti-violence funding for a wide variety of initiatives, including job programs, libraries, and violence interruption strategies. Until we are willing to play the long and short game around the issue of gun violence, Atwood said, we are going to continue this cycle. Police, meanwhile, have continued to contend that gun violence has spiked because the would-be gunmen are not being held accountable, a barely veiled critique of the city's courts and Krasner, the reform-oriented top prosecutor. But Krasner has defended his office's record and said data show many of the types of cases cited routinely by police are gun possession cases without proven links to shooting incidents. Accountability for actual gunmen have also been consistently low because of the police department's foundering clearance rate. As the Inquirer reported in 2020, police over the previous 5 years had charged suspects in only 21% of the city's shootings. City Council member Jamie Gaudier, whose West Philadelphia district is among the hardest hit by gun violence, said she agrees with Kenney and Atwood that diverting resources towards improving economic conditions is a necessary step in reimagining public safety. But she doesn't believe the mayor's administration is taking an emergency approach to preventing violence this summer. Conflict mediators should be flooding hard-hit neighborhoods and hospital trauma centers, she said, and recreation centers should be open 24 hours a day and staffed with social support personnel. Instead, some aren't fully staffed yet, and a third of city pools, disproportionately in poorer neighborhoods, don't have enough employees and remain closed. We need people who have credibility in our community and with young people to mentor young people and to get them between some of these conflicts, said Gaudier. That is an effective violence interruption strategy. There are people who can bring calm to our neighborhoods in a way that, frankly, police don't. Wow, that was, you know, I don't always read articles all the way through. That was one that I needed to. There's a lot going on in this city. Prince, how are you, my brother?
I'm awesome. Can you hear me?
I can. What's going on?
So, I think it's a bit irresponsible for folks to say that violence could be solved by way of economics. I think that at the same hand, you've outsourced all of the jobs that folks inside the city can do, and they've been outsourced over a long period of time.
So
it's
say
like,
more about that. When you say outsourced, what does that mean? To where? Where are they outsourcing? I know what outsource means. Where are they sending these outsourced jobs to?
It means that someone like McGriff or the DePaul brothers who do asphalt and the McGriff who do wiring of the lights and stuff like that, they've had contracts for generations in this city right here. So folks who cut Fairmount Park, folks who cut Lincoln Drive, those contracts are only bidded to a few prime contractors who rotate in order to take care of their families. That's how come you can't involve people from the street corners in major work. Let me give you an example. When a construction project goes up in the urban neighborhood, opposed to having a trailer that says that we can have 1099s, or W-2s or people in the neighborhood, what's the first thing they do, Andrea? They put a fence up and tell you you can't trespass on that site that's in your neighborhood. And so if I can offer a scholarship to two places, I want you to look them up and take a look at them. I think they're nice places. We can't help everybody, but I can help a few folks. One is Marple Arena.
Say that again.
Marple Arena.
Marple, M-A-R-P-L-E.
P-O-E, yes.
Yeah, you and I talked about this. Marple Arena, and the other one is hold on, Prince, hold on. Because you know I write it down, right? Hold on, Prince, I'm coming. Bolera in Feasterville, right?
Right.
Bolera in Feasterville. Okay, I need to look them up to tell the people what you want to do.
Well, I want to offer $200 for someone who you choose or who calls the radio station and has a family to go there and spend a day there. And I think that what happens is that the quality of life for our kids between the age of 10 and 18 has been lost. We let them play Grand Theft Auto and watch TV all day. But another culture or another race of people, they go and have activities. They go and have movements. They go and have interactions and stuff like that. So whether it's an amusement, whether it's bowling, whether it's shooting pool, whether it's playing those arcade games, you know, we should. I mean, I used to give money to block captains back in the day to go to certain playgrounds and parks. So we've gotten out of the helping different communities in different ways. We're letting this stuff happen, and we can't continue to do that.
Right.
You just
And
can't let
you're
it
absolutely
happen.
right. You know what's so funny, Prince? I'm talking to you, and I remember being in our neighborhoods when my children were growing up. There were families, you know, one particular mom who died from COVID last year, took her son in, and everywhere I went with my children, I took her son and a few other children. Right? Didn't cost her anything, but that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about. And to this day, they and my sons are good friends. They actually take good care of each other. You know what I mean? So we're not only doing something good for them, we're building a rapport with these young people so that they can love on one another and understand I am my brother's keeper. So
And you know what?
I thank you.
I wanted to do this right here. If you know, in all the townships, they got volunteer firefighters, correct?
Yes.
And so we're asking for $100 million to give the preachers in this city. And opposed to just giving them that money, why don't we transfer some of that money and have folks who have dump trucks hire folks in the community to pick up the trash? Because if you got the money on the table, you might as well do a good use with it and have them pick up if we 200 people short on picking up trash, then why not hire the people in the community to do it, and you can pay them a good wage beyond $15 if you got $100 million or $80 million.
Right.
And to my point, if it is a deliberate slowdown with the unions, then you need to trash is deemed a hazard, like snow is deemed a hazard. So you can't. So there's no union who has a maintenance contract can't go on strike and not move snow.
Right. And it's so interesting because you're right. Trash day is Thursday, trash isn't picked up until Monday. But there was an article written by WHYY that Cherry Gregg posted on her page that we read that they're under a lot of stress and duress. They're working long days on the weekends too, and they don't have enough people. So this is a solution, but you know, in order for a solution to be enacted, we need people at the table. Oh my God. Wonder Flood said, I will donate $100 along with Prince. Where do I send it? Oh,
there you go.
I love y'all. I love the WURD listeners. Wanda, I'll figure. So here's what we're going to do. Prince, with your consent, can we, if there's a family that has access to getting out to Feasterville or to the Marple Arena, where's the Marple Arena located, Prince?
Marple is located. It's not that far. You would have to Google it, but it's not. It's in Brookhaven, somewhere around there.
It's in Brookhaven.
Let me
Okay.
tell you something. I've seen families in places in King of Prussia and in Plymouth. They can get there. All we need to do is provide the financial resources to let them have fun.
Right. So if you have a family that you know of young people that you know would enjoy a day at the Marple Arena or Bolera in Feasterville, Prince is going to, is it $200 total, or are you doing $200 for two different families?
I'm doing $200 to each location.
To each location. Okay.
$400
All right.
total.
Okay, got it, Prince. So if you're a family who wants to do this, please call into the radio station and give Michael your, and listen, once we get the first two families, that's it. So the first come, first serve. Give Michael your information. We will connect you to Prince. And then Wanda Flood, I have to figure out how we get you, get your funds. Maybe I'll connect you and Prince together because I want to stay out of the middle of it. I am just the conduit, the connector. Connect you to Prince, two families, one to go to Feasterville to spend the day. You each get $200, and Wanda is going to donate another $100. So depending on where she wants to put it, in Bolera or Marple Arena, that's fine. But call. First two families that call in, 215-634-8065, that would like to spend a day at one of these two places, the Marple Arena or Bolera in Feasterville. I will connect you with Prince. Call Michael, give him your contact information. We'll give it to Prince. He'll make sure you get the money because, you know, Prince, I talk to Prince all the time. If Prince don't follow through, I'm going to find him.
Well, let me tell you this right here. I get it. Yeah, so my book was released on Tuesday, and we're going to probably talk next week to give you some time to digest it.
Okay.
So I'm pretty good on this end with my money.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. So remember, 215-634-8065. If you would like to experience the Marple Arena or Bolera Feasterville, Prince is offering to give $200 for each place for a family to spend the day there. And Wanda Flood says she will donate $100 with Prince. Wanda, I'm going to connect you. Is it okay if I give Wanda your information, Prince?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay,
the only
all right.
caveat is that they got to take a lot of pictures, and they got to come on your show and tell you that they have fun.
That's right.
That's my soapbox. I'm going to get off now.
All right. Thank you, Prince. Thank you. Prince says the only caveat is that you got to take a lot of pictures and show that you had fun. All right. Good, good, good. Okay. Wanda, call into the station, please. 215-634-8065, and I will send Prince's information so Michael can give it to you. Okay? All right. Thank you so, so much. Now, see, that's a solution, y'all. That's a solution. All right. Oh, I'm getting tired of you don't never buy me nothing. Come on, Tyrone. See, every time you come around, you got to bring Jim, James, Paul, and Tyrone. See, why can't we be by ourselves sometimes? Hi, Tyrone.
Hello, Mother Earth. How are you?
I'm good, darling. What's going on?
I just left Feasterville.
You just left Feasterville. Awesome.
Yes. We just buried my nephew. And I'm telling
Jesus.
you, Mother, this guy is somebody you would have loved to have met. I'm just telling you. You know, 12 years ago, he worked in our summer youth program.
Mm-hmm.
And I find him every week. And he'd be like, well, Uncle Tom, what I did? I said, you play too much.
Yes.
He said, but what summer program that you know where the young people don't play?
Uh-huh. Oh.
I said, they might play, but if it was a playing program, they play. But this ain't no playing program. We're trying to deal with trying to make things better in the community. And you want to do it without playing? You want to do it without a smile? He was I would say, how about this?
Yeah.
You know, because this is Friday, right? I said, how about this?
Mm-hmm.
Don't come back Monday.
Yes.
Okay, how about that?
Mm-hmm.
He said, Uncle Ty, you mean you really want to go there? I said, yes, I do, because you play too much.
Yes.
Monday comes, he shows up, because, you know, I already told him he's one of my best workers and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to have an argument about that. But, Uncle Ty, how can you call me one of your best workers
And every week you find me. I said, could you play too much?
Yeah.
And hey, but you know what? He got caught in the crossfire.
Oh,
He
God.
worked 2 full-time jobs. So, you know, he was leaving his day job, walking across, he was across street at his buddy's house, walking across street to his house to get ready to go to his night job, and got caught up in the crossfire. And not only was he had 2 jobs, but he also was working on his master. So here it is, a young man that's doing all the things that one would be proud of.
Right. My God,
I'm sorry about that. I got my what you come on, but then I'm coming from the area. And so anyway, I just want to say to the young people out there, I'm sorry about that. I want to say to all the young folks out there, believe me, y'all are some phenomenal individuals.
Yes.
Mother, I seen all these young people that was there, right? They all came with their own shirt design. Oh man, I've seen so many designs, so much, you know, show of love, and just be seeing the creativity of our young people. They are just creative. They are special. I'm just telling you, they are. Look. I'm gonna just say this, Mother, and then. Oh Lord, I'm so sorry about that. I thought I turned it off. And I'm just gonna say this at the end, Mother. Our young people, man, they do not need, and the pastor said this too. They do not need to be living in these days and times and living through what they're living through.
And they fear. They're in fear. They're absolutely in fear. You know, you worked with your nephew. You know, he had strong, solid family members around him. He was working 2 jobs, working on his master's, got caught up in a crossfire. That's the devastation, you know. I can't come on the air and have a glib conversation about gun violence. I have too many friends. Like, it's impacting all of us. You know, when I go to bed at night, I think about my own 2 sons who left this town. They left. They said, we're not, and they go live in some place because part of the issue is too. Hold on one second. Part of the issue too is people who know you, who might be jealous of you. That's another thing, right? So you just want to they understand that violence happens everywhere. But my God, Tyrone, I got to take a break. Hold on, Tyrone. Don't hang up. Hold on. I got you and Maurice. Hold on.
Okay.
You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is Samantha from Leo's Apparel on Germantown and Lehigh Ave. Open from 9:30 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday. We have the hottest selection of boys' dress suits and casual sportswear for boys sizes 2T to 20. Men, let me tell you, we got in a large shipment of straws from Stetson. We have new linen and dress suits. Biggest selection of Stacy Adams shoes. Get an extra WURD 10% discount.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Want the latest in WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, I have Tyrone on the line, one of our longtime word listeners and callers on here. I have 2 more callers waiting to get in before I have my 3 p.m. segment. So, Tyrone, I'm going to give you another minute. And go, sir.
Yes. Okay, Mother. Before I make my last point, I just want to just say how incredible our young people are. Yes. You know, when I think about the March on Washington, the last one that Reverend Al Sharpton had, one of the main things that stayed in my mind that was more beautiful and more wonderful than anything was all of them young people out there, and you know, most of them were representing something. And I'm just saying, Mother, our young people are so incredible that they should not be living in this type of lifestyle where they don't know if they just walking down the street, they can be gunned down. Right. And see, my issue is not the police commissioner, not the politician. My issue is the shooters. Why don't we ever talk about the shooters? If we get the shooters off the street, I'm telling you, this world is going to turn around automatically because our young folks is going to make it turn around. Yeah. But they can't turn around when we got these very few individuals who, for whatever reason, I'm not saying the history, I'm not saying income, I'm not saying what the issue is, but whatever the issue is, they got to stop picking up a gun to try to solve it, 1, and 2, they got to stop shooting anywhere and shooting anything. And and again, if they're not going to stop doing that, I don't care what the issue is. We got to get them off the street. We got to do something with them. And all I want them to do is please stop shooting unnecessarily and stop letting a gun be the first thing that you use to answer whatever your situation is.
All right. Thank you, Tyrone, honey. Love you. Talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye. Maurice. Bye-bye. Maurice.
Yeah, I like to follow up on what Prince was talking about, outsourcing the job. We had a black female that had a cleaning company that worked for City Hall, cleaned all the office buildings and whatnot, and they outsourced, kicked her out, and brought in a company from Chicago to come in to do the work. They didn't give a reason why. They didn't say she had poor performance or nothing. They just decided to go for the lower bid. Now, you got to understand, before COVID started, this problem, we only had 2.5% small businesses in Philadelphia, the black community. So you can imagine what it is now. It's probably 0. So what I'm saying is, I want to follow up on the good brother Tyrone there is, if you don't have nothing to offer to you, why should they put the guns down? If you don't give them a proper education, you don't give them any type of employment, you don't look out for them. I've been crying for summer jobs for the longest since you've been on the air, and they haven't even made a move to even think about that.
Yeah, so,
let
me say this.
If black politicians even had a fraction of what Prince just did in their soul, we wouldn't be having these problems now. If we had anything like that, but they don't think about us. All they know is they're getting paid by developers' money. Gentrification is the new outlook. They don't even realize that once they get us out of here, the new people in will be getting them out of here. But they're not
now. You better speak on it. So listen, Joanne Kemp says, Maurice on point again. And Malcolm White says, I agree with Maurice about the summer jobs program. I worked in that program in 1977. I was 14.
We probably worked together.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, Maurice. We know what works. We absolutely do know what works. And I'm telling you, in the suburbs, those children, and in fact, I just read an article last Thursday that talked about the fact that they're hiring more young people. But if we're not hiring the children in the city, where are they going? And if they have to, grab buses, they're hiring them in the suburbs, but what's going on in the city of Philadelphia? What is accessible to them here?
Well, can I give you a quick example?
Yes.
In 1990, the McDonald's out there in Phoenixville was paying $7.75 an hour. In 1990. So that just shows you what they think of us. You know, when people ask for 50, actually, minimum wage should be $20 an hour if you want to be realistic about it, or more.
Because of the cost of living, absolutely.
The cost of living has went up, but every time all you hear is the same politicians. Tell me if I'm wrong now. We got $100 million. We got $75 million. But guess what? Do we ever see it?
Right, and that's the issue. That is.
And you know what? I'm just so upset because then a couple years down the line they come out with using the exact plan that I told them. Why didn't they use the playgrounds as a hub? They could be there for the summer jobs. Could be there for the after-school program. They could be using PAL. And the last thing I want to say is, did you know the police got the nerve to say that they're short of staff? Now, you know, we're comfortable with New York and the amount of police officers, and they're 3-4 times bigger. But the thing I'm saying about it is, do they ever come to the black neighborhood to recruit? They never do. But they want to recruit outside the city so they can get all those cops that got fired all over the nation and come to Philadelphia and join the good old boys up there in the Northeast and become police officers. Have you whipped anybody black lately? You can be a sergeant. You can be a detective. Come on to Philly, land of milk and honey. We're just waiting for you. When are we going to start talking to our own people and say the only way to change the police department is within? I want all the brothers that don't have drugs in their system, that got a little bit of brains, know the streets. Please go to the police force and apply. We need you there to turn it around. That's what we did up at Graterford. We went up there, and the black officers went up there and turned that place around. That's why they haven't had a major riot in years, because you got somebody that can relate to the inmates about their situations instead of somebody from out of state or all the way up in Pittsburgh telling them, oh, you guys are murderers and thieves and you're uneducated.
Right.
So
all right,
I'm going to leave it at that because I was on already.
Thank you, because I got a 3 o'clock guest, and I have Brother Spread Love. I need to get him in before I go off. So thank you, my brother. Thank you for calling twice. I appreciate you. All right. Brother Spread Love, how you doing?
God bless it. God bless it, John of Love. Man of the respect, Empress Mama Andrea. How do you say, Mama?
Oh, I all right, you know.
Our family did make out from Elsa. Our family did make out from Elsa.
You know, they had a lot of flooding. They had a lot of flooding in Jamaica, and they were trying their best. You know, my sister kept saying, now, you know, there's a flood water coming. They're standing out there, you know. We just got, it was a lot of water, a lot of water. I don't think anyone lost their lives, but, you know, property was incredibly damaged by Elsa.
Yeah, but
so y'all know I don't go to an island past June 30th, right? That's just me.
Yeah,
After being born and raised on one, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to let the hurricane season simmer down before I go back to an island. It's just me. What's up, my brother?
Well, you know, say, Mama, first give thanks for life, health, and strength still, you know?
Yeah, same thing.
Most important. And we give love for our brother Mike on the boards, always doing an amazing job. The entire WRD family, everyone working to make it better, especially everyone grieving right now. Our hearts go out with our brother Tyrone every time, you know what I mean? And all those incarcerated, especially incarcerated falsely. Free Mumia. I'm going to work to keep it brief, Mama. I know we're up against the time brief. But first I wanted to formally thank you for bringing Empress Ngakia on board with the WRD family. It was a wonderful thing. Very beautiful.
She's awesome. She's brilliant too. You know, she actually got a full scholarship to her university in Washington D.C. I believe she's going to American, and they only have to pay $14 a year. That's how smart Ngakia is. And she's kind and generous and humble, and her family is from one of the countries in South Africa. And so we see these kinds of things happening all the time. And she was sent my way some years ago. Just amazing young lady. You all haven't begun to see what she's getting ready to do with her life, honestly. But listen, I got 1 minute. 1 minute. Brother Spread Love, what's up?
All right, give thanks. If I'm not mistaken, I thought she was from Guinea, and her uncle was...
Yes, she is from Guinea. Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Ahmed Sekou Touré, the great black leader. And I would just say that she exemplifies what it is to be a black empress. You remember the Sanchez, this is for my black, beautiful princess. One more thing, where are we giving the money?
Where are we giving the... Oh, so I'm gonna, if you need to connect with Prince, you want to connect with Prince to give, you mean to help the children to go to these places in Feasterville?
Yeah, Mike got my number. Just ask him to give Prince my phone number.
Mike will, because I just sent Prince's phone number to Mike. So if you want to donate too, see, this is why I love you all. Everybody talking, you all doing. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, my brother. I got to take a break.
One more thing, please, real quick. A lady saw Earth Strong today. You have any she got?
Oh, Lady Saw. Mickey, I cannot play anything Lady Saw on WURD radio.
It's
Come on now.
Everybody's calling.
Come on now. Goodbye, Brother Spread Love. 'Cause you know. Goodbye. Love you. Talk to you soon, my brother. All right. Bye-bye. Lady Saw. Oh, my God. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM. But happy birthday, Lady Saw, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is a number to call in. We will be right back with the WSFS sponsored segment with Demetria Davenport right after these messages.
If you or a loved one is searching for a home care agency that provides care both needed and deserved, call My Independence at Home at 215-921-2277. Featured in Oprah Magazine, My Independence at Home is committed to quality, compassionate home care for the elderly and adults with both physical and intellectual developmental disabilities. Call 215-921-2277 today for a free in-home consultation or visit us on the web at MYIAH.org.
Word Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey. Brought to you by Comcast.
Email phishing scams are nothing new, but they get more convincing and sophisticated every day. In the past, you'd get fake emails that seemed to come from your bank or credit card company, but now you could also see messages that appear to come from Amazon, PayPal, or Netflix as well. So how can you spot a scam? Look for misspellings or grammar errors in the email message. Most phishing scams try to scare you with a sense of urgency in the message that tries to get you to click on a link or provide account information. And one of the biggest telltale signs of a phishing scam is the email address of the sender. Pay close attention to where the email came from. A scam email address is usually totally unrelated to the company it's claiming to represent. Remember, a legitimate company will never send an email asking you for sensitive personal information, so if you're unsure, call the company directly and never click any links or open any attachments in the message. Stay safe online, stay tuned to WURD for more tips, and stay connected with us at WURDradio.com.
Join WURD for our second annual Neighborhood Love Tour. This year we celebrate West Oak Lane, Mantua, North, West, and South Philly. I'm Tiffany Bacon. I'm going to broadcast live from a different neighborhood each Friday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. The tour kicks off on Friday, July 16th at the Cobbs Creek Recreation Center, 2800 Cobbs Creek Parkway. Enjoy live performances, meet special guests, and stand with WURD. Be a part of the movement to amplify the voice of the Black community. Show your support and join or renew your 4WURD membership on site. That's the Neighborhood Love Tour beginning Friday, July 16th at the Cobbs Creek Recreation Center from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. WURD, showing love this summer.
The Word Radio Neighborhood Love Tour is sponsored by Comcast and supported by Pico, Keystone First, and Ready Set Philly. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent Black Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. It brings me great joy to talk about the livelihood WSFS Bank I'm going to say WSFS Bank segment with Demetria Davenport. It's a financial literacy segment, bi-monthly, sponsored by WSFS Bank, and it's hosted by moi. And so I'm so excited. But Demetria Davenport is Vice President of Community Banking and Compliance. She has spent the last 18 years of her career working diligently to carry out her mission of financially empowering people and businesses in the greater Philadelphia region. Today, in our segment, we're going to talk about budgeting, right? Suggested the child tax credit. How are parents budgeting these funds? So I'm so excited. Welcome to The Source, Miss Davenport. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. How are you on this Money Monday?
Oh, Lord. It's interesting. Just before you came on, maybe about an hour before, someone called to talk about people are getting these $300 tax credits.
Oh, wow. Yep.
And they're getting, if they have 3 and 4 children, they're getting $900 to $1,200 a month. Who is helping them to budget through this? And I looked at what you're getting ready to talk about, and I said, "See how God works."
I know, right? Aligns everything. Yes. And so let's jump in it because so on this Money Monday, we want to talk about budgeting, but I wanted to make sure we stay relevant. I mean, because everyone know about budgeting, how much we like it or don't like it, but just to kind of bring it full circle in terms of what's current and what's happening. Let's talk about it from the perspective of the child credit, and even from the we think about all the money that is rolled out over this last year and a half, and we know that a lot of people have needed it. We know that people have, a lot of people were unemployed with the shutdown and all those things happening. And so there's been a lot of money moving. And so we talked about, our money mindset in our last segment.
Right.
Now let's just kind of talk about where are we putting it? What are we doing with it? Because especially on Monday. So Monday is always an interesting day because if you like me, I come in, I pull up my account and I'm like, what did I spend this weekend?
Yes. And listen, Demetria, today I thought I was going to have to spend it on an iPhone. My iPhone died. I said, not today, Jesus. It's not in the budget.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. So you're going to have those unexpected expenses, all those things that are going to happen, but are we prepared for them? And so let's just, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Let's talk about where are we putting our money? Because a lot of us feel like we're putting our money in bags with holes, right? That is coming in, Friday comes, and then Monday, and there's no money. And so, one of the ways that we do that is really through budgeting. As much of many of us don't like it, we don't like the idea of keeping track, like monitoring and looking at where all of it's going. But that's the only way we're going to be successful. And the goal of our segment is to give people tools to be successful in their finances.
Absolutely.
So when I looked at the child tax credit, I started thinking about that. I was like, between that and the additional dollars that were being given for unemployment,
right?
Where are we putting it? And so only way we know where we're putting it, we have to really do some work. And so when we look at budgeting, it's 3 components. Like I always like to say, I like to quote that that budgeting is easy to do. It's easy to write the plan, but it's hard to carry out. It's hard to execute. You know what I mean? It's easy to sit down and write it, but then it's the execution that's going to make you successful. So it's 3 components, Andre. All of us can do it. So for those of us that are really serious and want to move, get your pen and paper. I see Andre just pulled out her pen and paper.
Yes.
Get your pen and paper because I'm going to give you these tips. And then it's up to you to execute them.
Right.
And so the first component is your income. Where are you getting money? Like what money is coming in, right? And I want you to write down everything. So if you're doing, you're doing laundry on the side, what's your side hustle? What's your regular hustle? Where are you going to do your 9 to 5? Write down every place you're getting income from. You want to write that down. So you can do this in any kind of way. There's a bunch of tools out there, which we'll talk about, but like you just did, just draw a line down the middle and write down all your income, wherever you're getting money from. So if you're getting an extra $300 in your, from the tax credit, if you're getting unemployment, if you're getting child support, if you're wherever you are getting money from, alimony, write it all down in your income column. And then your next column is going to be your expenses. That's the hard one, right? You're going to write down everybody you pay and everybody you owe. And so I want you to write down your aunt, your mama, everybody you don't borrow money from, all them people you owe money to, write it down. Pico, PGW, every place you're spending money, those are your expenses. And then all you do is you take your income minus your expenses and you determine, do you have enough? You have enough, because a lot of us are really spending more than what we're actually making. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Either that or we just don't see where it goes.
Yes, right. And it's those little things that we don't think about. Starbucks, going out to have lunch with your friends. You see something in the store that you like and you just think you must have it. You know, and then you look in your account and you go, well, wait a minute, I had $500 more 2 days ago than I do today. And if you don't pay attention to what you're spending, it can really get out of hand. So what advice do you have for people in terms of, you know, let's say this child tax credit? What can they do with this discretionary money? Because it was money they never had before. So they may need some of it to, you know, help with child care, et cetera, et cetera. But what would your advice be to them about maintaining some of that money? Because it's not going to last forever.
It's not going to last forever. So for the child tax credit is running from July to December. So it is not going to last forever. And so think about those things. For those, you got two segments of people. We have some people who are still generating income, right? So some of us are still working and still are able to get the tax credit, which is great. So now you have an opportunity to really look at where were you falling short in your budget? And you can only do that, Andrea, like you said, is by really tracking. What I recommend, take 2 weeks. Take 2 weeks to really track what you are spending on. And there's a bunch of apps, there are tools and ways that you can do that. Check, you know, your iPhone or your Android app and check for something, you know, to use to track your spending. So you can put in your phone real quick when you buy that coffee, when you buy that.
So do you have any apps that people can actually download to check their credit?
One or another.
Okay.
Go to your app store and just put in finance tracking or put in money tracking or something of that nature, and you'll find a bunch of tools. Because it's real simple. And if you don't use the apps, just write it down. Right. You know, keep your receipts. At the end of the day, write down those things that you're spending money on, so that you can really see where your money goes. And then the best tool is spend cash.
Yes.
So a lot of times we're using our debit cards and it's just easy, right? You're just swiping. But when you use cash, it's a little bit different. So when you're taking out, if you take out 20, you say I'm gonna spend $20 a day or whatever it is, or when you take out that $20 and you see how fast you spend $20.
Right.
When you're using cash, it moves a lot differently than when you're using your credit card or when you're using your debit card. So the two tools I recommend in terms of tracking your spending is try using cash, and then also getting an app or getting a little notepad or something where you're writing down what it is that you're spending every day, and try it for 2 weeks.
Right.
Just try it for 2 weeks and see what happens.
You know what? You're absolutely right. So it's easy to pull out your card and spend money. I had to go to a Juneteenth event, and I knew immediately I would be in. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I knew immediately that I would be in trouble if I didn't focus and budget. So I took $50 and put it in my pocket.
Yeah.
I spent $45.
Absolutely.
All I kept saying to myself was, do you really need this? Is this something that you must have? And I was so proud of myself, because it would be so easy to go, yep, I'll take that and take that. And the fact of the matter is, many of our homes are filled with things that we thought we needed that we just didn't have to have, right?
Absolutely. And if again, we've been talking about things that we learned during COVID. And that's one of the things I know I learned during COVID is that I have more than enough, right?
Yes, right.
I don't have to buy another pair of black pants. I really don't have to buy another white shirt, as much as I love them. But I really don't have to do that because I have more than enough in my home.
Right.
And so I think a lot of us learned that during COVID, that we spend frivolously just because we can. And so, so when you're, when you really want to determine what it is that you're spending, you got to spend time tracking before you really can write a budget, because you really don't know a lot of us really just don't know where our money is going. We really can't pinpoint where it all goes. And I'm a component of really spending cash.
Right.
We moved away from cash, and but cash moves so differently than than with your card. Like you said, that $20 you see just how quickly $20 on a T-shirt, $5 on something to drink at a
The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for the following New Jersey counties: Burlington, Mercer, Middlesex, Monmouth, and Ocean, plus the following Pennsylvania counties: Bucks and Philadelphia. Effective until 4:38 p.m. the National Weather Service in Mount Holly, New Jersey has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for northwestern Ocean County, in southern New Jersey, eastern Mercer County in central New Jersey, northern Burlington County, in southern New Jersey, central Monmouth County in central New Jersey, southern Middlesex County, in northern New Jersey, southeastern Bucks County, in southeastern Pennsylvania, northeastern Philadelphia County, in southeastern Pennsylvania. Until 4:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 3:08 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm was located over Cranbury, or 13 miles south of New Brunswick, moving northeast at 15 miles per hour. Other strong to potentially severe storms were located from northeast Philadelphia to Hamilton and were nearly stationary. Hazard: 60 miles per hour wind gusts and penny-size hail. Source: radar indicated. Impact: damage to roofs, siding, trees, and power lines is possible. Locations impacted include Philadelphia, Old Bridge, Bensalem, East Brunswick, Manalapan, Willingboro, Princeton, Florence, Burlington, Bristol, Matawan, Riverside, Palmyra, Jamesburg, Hightstown, Bordentown, Cranbury, Beverly, Tullytown, and Allentown. This includes the following highways: New Jersey Turnpike between exits 5 and 9. Pennsylvania Turnpike between mile markers 352-359, Interstate 95.
Figure out ways to hustle. Figure out if you find that you're spending more than what you're making, find a hustle or start selling some of that stuff in your closet. Start selling those things that you don't need because you want to generate more income. The goal is to figure out how to generate more income.
Yep.
And don't be tight with it.
Yes.
Give.
Yes. Give. Yes.
Give. I really live by the principle that it's better to give than to receive. And so I believe in giving to those who are in need. I believe in giving. I was listening to your to your segment and just how how the listeners are just chiming like, oh no, I'm going to give 100 for this and I'll give 100 for that, because they recognize the benefit of giving.
Yes.
And so I believe that, like I live by that. Like I'm not talking about things that I don't live by.
Right.
These are disciplines that I live by. And then I believe in saving it. And we've talked about that, because you're getting these additional dollars. Figure out how to save something for your child if you can. Or figure out how to use that to get a computer for your child. Get those things your child need to be successful in this upcoming school.
Yes. And to also remember, if I can add my own mother tip, if you only save $5, you're still saving. So if you can only put aside $5 a day, you are still saving money. It is still money at the end of the day that you can turn it into something bigger and greater. But don't just not save because you think it's only $5. That money adds up over time. I can't thank you enough. I love this segment. I am really loving this segment, and it's helping a lot of people, Demetria.
I hope so. That's the goal. That's the goal, that you walk away with some tips and strategies that's going to help you be financially successful. So just remember to make it, give it, save it, and invest it.
Thank you so much, Demetria Davenport. Thank you so much, my sister. Have a good afternoon. I'll see you on the 3rd Monday in July.
3rd Monday, I will see you again.
Yes, ma'am. All right, bye-bye. Bye-bye. That was a segment sponsored by WSFS Bank. It's a literacy, financial literacy statement, segment that we have every first and third Monday of the month. And we have Demetria Davenport, who is doing our Livelihood WSFS Bank segment. She's a vice president of community banking and compliance. And so she has seen it all, experienced it all. And I'm so glad that she has been on here. Now, some of you have missed what she said because there was a weather alert. So I'm going to give it to you again. She says, your budgeting is easy to write, but hard to carry out. There are three components to it. Your income. Where are you getting your money? Write down all of it. Create, if you're getting it from babysitting, from a full-time job, you're getting child support, you got funding from the government, from the CARES Act, you're getting the $300 child tax credit. Write down everything. Then she says your expenses. Then write down your expenses. Everybody you pay and everybody you owe. So if it's Auntie Suki and them that gets $200 from you, like we in the some of in our community, we take care of family members too. So even after you pay your bills, you might, I don't know if this happens everywhere, but some in our family, like my sisters and I were talking last night, and they were talking about the fact that there's some folks that they know who are raising children in Jamaica that they're going to help to send to school. So pay for their school books. So you budget that in. If you're sending $200 a month to help a family or doing like what Prince does, budget that in. All of it. That is your expenses, right? And then she says your income minus your expenses is what you have left behind, and do you have enough, right? So she talked about tracking what you're spending and spend less than what you make. Very difficult for those of us who are, it's very easy to just pull out your card and say, yep, I want it. Yep, I want that. And so one of the examples she gave was using cash. If you take a certain amount of cash out of the account, when that cash is over, then you know you've spent all that you can spend versus, and so it's a discipline. It's a discipline here. She talked about the fact that the child tax credit is here. If you have 3 or more children, if you only have one, that's $300 more than you were getting every single month, right? And it's going to go from July to December. I just got an alert that says that the first of them will be going out this week into people's accounts. Thank you, President Biden, because, my children are 24 and 29. I can't claim them now. So, use that money wisely. And so thank you again. This was the livelihood segment from WSFS Bank, which is a literacy segment sponsored by them, and it's hosted by myself. And so we'll have not just Demetria on, but other experts as we move along through these segments. Okay, it is 3:16. The rest of the show is open for WURD listeners if you'd like to call. I heard your cry. You've said to me, less guests, more talking, so they want to be able to get your thoughts out. So we now have only 2 or 3 guests on per 3-hour show, right? And so I'm done with my guests for the day. If you want to call in, 215-634-8065. And while I'm looking at that, the tip line for Philadelphia police, if you know that there's violence and crime somewhere and you have an idea of who did what, that tip line is 215-686-8477. Every single time I'm on the air, I'm going to give you that tip line. It's, again, 215-686-8477. 8477. We all have to look out for each other, and if you know something, say something, to get you where you need to. Lania, you're quite welcome, my sister. I understood. I can't hear what is going on. I couldn't hear the weather report, so I didn't know, but thank you for letting me know so that I could give that back to you. Okay. Let me see what else is going on here. Lord, Michael, let me just make sure. All right, so I just want to give you something else. So I talked about Philly's gun violence. Interesting. Come on. Every time I do the Tribune. All right, here we go. Sarah Rankin from the Associated Press wrote this. An incredible day as the Lee statue was removed in Charlottesville. Cheers erupted Saturday as a Confederate statue that towered for nearly a century over downtown Charlottesville was carted away by truck from the Virginia city, where it had become a flashpoint for racist protests and deadly violence. My brother Jake, tell my brother Jacob to hold on until right after the thing, so I don't have to interrupt him. Okay. It was a day of palpable joy and immense relief for scores of residents and visitors who lined the neighboring streets to watch the larger-in-life figure of General Robert E. Lee as it was hoisted from its pedestal and taken, at least for now, to storage. The statue's removal came more than 5 years after racial justice activists had renewed a push to take down the monument, an initiative that drew the attention of white supremacists and other racist groups, culminating in the violent Unite the Right rally in 2017. I am ecstatic that we are here now. It is sad that it has taken so much to get us to this point, but this is an incredible day, said Don Gathers, a local black activist who long advocated for the statue's removal. Work to remove Lee's statue and one of the Confederate General Thomas Stonewall Jackson shortly after proceeded peacefully and without interruption. It was a project held up for years by a long, winding legal fight coupled with changes in state law that protected war memorials. Vote, people, vote, vote, vote. I keep telling you all to vote and stop going, you know, it's this one's fault and it's that one's fault. Look at the leaders in front of you, whether they're Republican or are a Democrat. If they're not doing the work, vote them out. I don't care what because you know we tend to hang on to somebody because they're of a certain party affiliation. Look at the core of the person and the work that they're doing. If they're not doing the work, put them out. I said it. Yeah, I said it. Camden's let me just see if I can find this. I don't know if there's a Lord. Nope, I can't do this because this is a video, so that's not going to work. Sorry, so I'm going to take a quick break here. You are listening to The Source, and then Jacob, I will take you, okay? 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Financial Literacy on WURD is brought to you by WSFS Bank. For more information on boosting your financial know-how, visit the Knowledge Center at WSFSbank.com. WSFS Bank. We stand for service.
This Word Wellness vignette is brought to you by Penn Medicine. Word Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach with tips to help you stay well. Have you ever heard someone say, "You're way too serious," and you thought, they couldn't be talking about me? Well, let's face it, sometimes the hardships of life get our faces and our moods all tied in a bunch. Sometimes we forget to smile and enjoy life's simple things. Lightening your life with laughter can look like this. Number 1, watch a funny movie by yourself or with family. Number 2, revisit your favorite comedian's stand-up special. Number 3, doodle, draw, or play a card game with the children in your life. See the world through their eyes. We sometimes think in order to laugh, we have to do specific things. Yet, we can choose to find joy all around us every day. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at WURDradio.com. This Word Wellness vignette was brought to you by Penn Medicine.
Are you looking to hire diverse talent? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal to help connect you with diverse talent in Philadelphia and beyond. If you would like to have your jobs featured on our job portal, give us a call at 215-425-7875 or send us an email at sales@wordradio.com. Check out the job portal today on our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Brother Jacob, peace be unto you, my brother.
All right, peace be unto you. Hey, look, you got me first. Peace be okay, peace be unto you. That's all right. I love it. Because that's what we need. Oh, I'm blessed. You know, I watched you was talking about them statues being removed. I watched that historic move live. I mean, I was just thanking the Creator that let me see this, because I know my ancestors, right?
Yes.
My enslaved ancestors prayed for days like this, right? And I don't take these days for granted, right?
like the heat out there today, every time I hit the heat like that, I say my ancestors had to work in this, picking cotton and tobacco from sun up to sundown. So I ain't going to let a little sun deter me from doing whatever I got to do. Which brings up, we got to make things law in this country, right? Because, see, it was the law that they take them statues down because it offended, it was on state property, right?
Right.
And much taxes as we pay as black people, we're not going to be disrespected like that no more because we woke now, right? So when we wake up, we're going to do the things that we didn't do while we were asleep. So that's just going to be a given. But the vote, the way that Republicans are playing, right, they're making it real hard for us to vote. But right away, I say this here, don't let them kill our spirit of voting. If it took all night and all day for me to vote, I'm going to do it. I don't care what the Republicans do. I'm going to make sure now, if I get in line, because I know it's the law, that if you get in line by closing time on any poll,
they cannot close until you vote. Absolutely.
Exactly. So if I don't vote to that, if I'm a mile away from the voting place, I'm going to be in line, right? And I'm going to use that. I'm never going to let them discourage my vote because I know that's where it's all happening in that vote. And if it wasn't so valuable, they wouldn't be working to steal it like they've been doing for, what, hundreds of years? So,
and even more so now in the last year, my Lord.
Yes. Oh my God, they just took off. They took off the gloves, man. They don't even care. They're talking about being. That's why I hear about the Democrats. They better start rumbling a little harder for this democracy.
Did you see the gentleman that won the Democratic nomination for mayor in New York? Jacob?
New York, yes.
Man, he said, "Listen, I literally almost jumped to the screen." He said, "I'm going to need the Democrats to get their whole selves together and stop playing around and piddling around and mollycoddling and understand this is how you're going to win elections now. We got to take the people's, what people are asking for seriously. They want safety. They want to make sure that they can get to and from their homes. They want to be safety in the subways. They want to make sure that they're having a good, solid education, that the money is coming into their neighborhoods and doing what is right for them." He is literally shifting the what's happening here, right? And we keep saying this, and so the same old stuff, the same old people that we're constantly, knighting and saying, well, I'm giving you the mantle, you can get into office because you will make sure I get X, Y, and Z when you get into office. Man, y'all, I can't say it enough, Brother Jacob, because these folks think folks are playing. We're done with it.
Yes. Well, the last thing, if I could say a prayer for the people of Haiti. Because, they're working with their government was already fragile, right? Now, with the assassination of the president and everything, that's so bad that we pray that it doesn't get any worse for our brothers and sisters in Haiti. Because,
but, Jacob, it was a brother here, a 50-something-year-old brother here, who planned his assassination because he wanted to take over Haiti.
Yes. So again,
crazy. When are we going to address what we do to each other?
Well, that's, a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but we're going to get to that. You know what I mean? Because we're going to have to. Because the problem in our hood, that's our problem. We got that. We're going to have to take care of that, and we're going to do it, and the police are going to help us because they should be our helpers. But it's our problem. We're going to do it. And ain't no stopping everything that we're supposed to do, Sister Andrea. 400 years been moving, and I know that the Almighty Creator, whichever way you pray, I know that He didn't let my ancestors suffer in this country for 400 years to turn it over to some stupid, really scared white boys that don't have a clue about what democracy is, like the ones that marched and got chased by about 10 people. 10 real men and women chased them, and they was in the hundreds. That goes to show how cowardly they are.
But Jacob, can I ask you this, my brother? And I respect your voice when you call on this airwave. I really do. When are we going to acknowledge the role we play in allowing this stuff to play out? Right? You know that slavery only started because we sold out our own people. in being.
Yeah, that's Africa. But they don't even want you to say that.
And,
you ain't even supposed to say that.
And that has continued at certain levels of throughout time, throughout the decades, throughout the generations. When are we going to acknowledge the roles we play in taking on these people who means us no good, but they're willing to give us a cut or a slice of the thing, and they're selling whole towns and communities down the road? When are we going to take on that responsibility?
Well,
about our role that we play in this? We can't blame the white man for everything is what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying?
No, but don't we vote these, even if they're black leaders that's supposed to represent us, don't we vote them in? Right?
Yes.
We vote them in. So we're going to have to vote them out. And we're going to have to get people who understand our mission and what we have to do in this country. And I don't care what party you call it. And the Democrats need to start getting on it because, again, we're not begging for anything. We're asking for our portion of this American pie, period. Well, I'll drop the mic on that, and thank you for letting me say that, my sister.
You're
and
welcome.
don't let nothing get your pressure up.
I won't.
All right.
Thank you so much. Take it easy. All right. Bye-bye. Something is going on outside because I'm hearing thunder and lightning and rumblings even under my microphone here, my headset here, which is unusual because I don't hear anything when I'm on the air except what I'm talking to in the thing here. So I am going to do a couple more articles. Again, if you want to call in, please don't wait till 3:50. It is important to me that I get off the air exactly at 3:55 so that I can make way for Nick Taliaferro to get on here. Oh, Lord Jesus, George. Hey, George, how you doing?
Fine. How are you today?
I'm good. So
what?
Listen, wait, George. Hold on, George. Can you and I have a conversation today where you're not calling anybody a kiss up, a suck up, or can you just have a good conversation with me today so people can hear you for the value that you bring into the conversation?
That's the value.
George.
I don't have to talk about them. They already been on. All of them have been on. You know, they did what they had to do. They get their marching orders and they do what they do, put on their lipstick and do what they do best.
George.
I'm not even going there. You know.
What can I do for you, sir?
Let me ask you a question. When people go into different countries or they try to go in different places, what is the first thing they try to indoctrinate on the people that they're trying to suppress or take over? Don't think, you get a headache. Religion. Religion. Religion is the fact of when they go in these countries, they always want to indoctrinate, lay it on them, spill it on them. Basically, that's what's happening here in Philadelphia. We got all these preachers, right? Certain group of them, not all of them, but they keep indoctrinating this crazy foolishness. They into politics, they into the city's business, they into this thing, all in the name of trying to help you. But those white folks got these special few Negroes pushing their agenda, which is an electoral agenda that they want their people in office so that they can do what they want to do. And then you got, I can't call it the way it is, but you have this group that's asking for all this money, these preachers, and to me what they are, they're not preachers.
Thank you. So I can hear you trying to use different words. I hear you, and I'm acknowledging
that. Don't call them what they are, so I'm trying to be nice.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I do. I really do.
But they are what they are, and they hustling the system. They suppressing black people for white folks. They doing what white folks tell them to do. Now, this is coming out of white folks' mouth. Okay? Now, they don't know why black folks don't catch on to it. You got a sector of white folks that call most of the shots in this city who don't want to see black people suppressed. You know who suppress black people the most? Black people. It's every time those Negroes get in the room, they always think of themselves, their family, and friends. It's never about their district, their community, or whatever. It's always about them and their next campaign, begging and begging and begging. But that's just the way they are. And
well, you know what, George? So, George, one of the things we talk about all the time is absolute power corrupts, right? And so as we give the few, because, if you pay attention, we never get more than a few of us in power at the same time. One, because of those who are in power don't want to share the power, right? So they're not held, there's no real level of accountability there for them. And so they do everything they can to do what they need to do to stay there in power. And then as they gain more power, they become, you can't talk to them, right? And so they find themselves in a crazy position. Here's the thing, though. You called into this radio show on Thursday, and you talked about the gun houses.
That's right.
George, I can't stand you. I tell folks, I want to get off the air and prove you wrong at least one time. People don't like when you call over here. They don't want to talk to you. But what I do is when you call, I start doing my research. Don't you know, not even 2 days later, I get a whole call about the gun houses and how many of them exist. And many of them are in wealthy areas that people would have never even thought about, right? I never thought of the gun houses until you called the show.
Let me say this, Andrea. They're always in nice-looking neighborhoods. The best gun houses who have the most impact and the best guns is in the Northwest, Mount Airy, up there with all the nice hedges and nice lawns and everything. That's where they at. They have, I wouldn't say, but it's a sufficient amount of gun houses up there. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard any type of activists, protesters, police, anybody in any block where that they selling guns say, we want you out of this
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know because I don't know where these gun houses are.
No, I'm asking you, have you ever heard of it? Have you ever heard? Josh Shapiro busted 25 gun houses last year, and he hasn't been near one since. Tell me nobody else. They don't go to, you know what the community tell you? If we're not complaining about it, why are you so concerned about it?
Okay. All right. But what's happening now, George, is people who didn't think their children would be caught up in the crossfire are now finding that their children are getting caught up in the crossfire.
Not only that, it's quite a few of them that got gun houses in their block, and their nephews, and some of them's kids that got killed somewhere else. Okay, it don't necessarily have to be in your block. Guns don't have to, or like assembly to one area, assigned to an area and stay there. They're everywhere. That's what I'm saying, is that if they want to shut them down, they'll shut them down. If they want to get rid of these guns, if they want to stop this violence, anything the Philadelphia Police Department want to do, they can do. They just don't do it, and they ain't going to do it.
So, George, let me hold on, George. Let me say this to you. Part of the issue that I have here is when every time you call in, there are people who get so irritated. Why are you irritating everybody? Why is everybody so irritated with you, George?
Because they can't do nothing about it. And I can sit up here and talk about it all day, and if I really got fed up with it, like really sick of it, believe me, I could do some things or talk to some people.
No, not on this show, you're not. Goodbye, George.
Like that. No, I don't get into stupid stuff. I don't get into that, what we call that stupid street stuff. I don't get into that. No.
Got you.
No.
All right, my brother.
You always never go to the worker, go to the boss.
Right. See, so here's the thing.
If you go to the worker, you get worker service. It's just like if you go to the circus and you keep thinking you're going to get a different prize than a circus prize, then something's wrong with you.
Here's the thing about you, and I think people miss this when they hear me talking to you on the air. I treat you the same way I treat everyone else. They may disagree with you. There are people who call in that I disagree with. I disagree with you. There are times when you called in and I disagree with you on principle about the way you speak about something, and we work together. I am still going to treat you with a modicum of decency. That's the piece that I think everybody needs to get. Just because we don't like, there are folks that, Lord Jesus, just because we don't like how someone says something, or they may have a past history because, they throw up everything in this and and I'm like, yep, I know, I get it. But when you're sitting in places where you know what's going on, and every single time, and I mean, oh my God, George, I talk to judges, I talk to lawyers, and they're like, yeah, he's right. But nobody else is going to talk about it. So
Andrea,
I want to refute what you're saying to me. And every time you come on the air, I want to refute what you're saying to me. And here's the other thing, George. If I think more people would hear you and understand what you're saying if you chose to speak in a way where you weren't denigrating, you weren't calling them names. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's value in what you're bringing to these conversations.
Andrea, I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to the people who are suppressing them.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the way you have to talk to them. You cannot talk to those people nice. If you even remotely try to talk to them nice, you're disrespecting yourself and people that you take care of.
Yeah.
You can't, listen, anybody who thinks that you can sit up there, I say if it's 10 elected officials, there's only 2 you can talk to decent that will respect and understand it.
Right.
They basically
but George, somebody put him in office, right?
Yeah,
I got to go, man, because I got to take a break. But somebody put him in office, George. Who knighted them? Who said that they were the best thing since sliced bread and put them in office, right?
Listen.
So now we have to sit around and figure out how to work around them versus
you talk
saying,
about getting rid of them. That's all.
God.
Andrea, listen, you look at it like this here. I don't get stopped. Nobody stops me from coming into a room. I can sit there and I sit in whoever's meeting it is, I can sit in their seat, and nobody ever asks me to move. They sit in the next seat. Never ask me to move, and if somebody says something, the person seated is to say, if I'm not complaining about it, what business is yours? Why are you even concerned with it? What are you trying to do here?
All right, my brother, I hear you.
But
I absolutely
Andrea,
hear you.
let me say this here.
One more thing.
People better wake up and understand what they're doing to them, and don't worry about George. George is okay. And all this here, and all those lovely fans I have on social media that try to, I love the little old lady that always come on and say, is he telling the truth? I have yet to see anything he said is wrong. I don't see nobody saying he's wrong and proving he's wrong. And I'm
just waiting for somebody to call me and say George is a liar, and this is why I know he's a liar. Yeah.
Right. Tell them,
all right, my brother.
Have they done it?
All right.
Have a good one, Andrea.
Take it easy. All right, bye-bye. Woo, Lord. Every time Michael sends me a text and says George is on the line, I'm like, because I don't know what George is going to say today. So I have Nambia and Gail after the break. But let me take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll do the final segment of this show. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on, for the love of God. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is a number to call in. I am slowing down my speech because the FDA is expected to announce a new warning on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine related to a rare autoimmune disorder. Jesus. Oh, for the love of God. The FDA, the agency plans to cite a link to a small number of Guillain-Barré cases after vaccination, but will say that the shot's benefits outweigh the risk. Really? The Food and Drug Administration is preparing to announce a new warning for the Johnson & Johnson coronavirus vaccine, saying that the shot has been linked to a serious but rare side effect called Guillain-Barré syndrome, in which the immune system attacks the nerves, according to 4 individuals familiar with the situation. About 100 preliminary reports of the Guillain-Barré have been detected after the administration of 12.8 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccine in the United States. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention said in a statement Monday, the cases have largely been reported about 2 weeks after vaccination, and mostly in men, many aged 50 or older. You are listening to The Source. That was breaking news. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. We will be right back after these messages.
The Sweet Treat Hut is the highest rated juice bar in Philly, located on the corner of 50th and Thompson Streets, providing delicious, healthy vegan food, juices, and smoothies. Treat yourself to a cup of happiness. Call 215-877-1471.
The Black Words Book Club. WURD Radio's conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The Black Words book for July is White Evangelical Racism, The Politics of Morality in America by Penn's Dr. Anthea Butler. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's defeat Dafina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, Tuesday, July 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Dafina. Dafina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to the final segment of The Source. So listen, it is 3:43. I have 12 minutes to get 3 callers in. I'm going to ask when I take you that you please give a little bit of room for the next person coming behind you. I have Nambia from Camden, line 1. How are you?
Greetings. This is Namibia.
Namibia, thank you so much for correcting me.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for having me. I just wanted to speak on the importance of voting. And I'm from Camden, and there's a population of about 70,000 people. And of that, about 40,000 are of voting age. We just had an election for our mayor primary election. It took about 2,000 people to get that person in.
Are you kidding me?
About 2,000 people. And we have a history of a low voter turnout rate. And this is the powers that be, which are not, that don't look like us, want it that way because they get to put the person in that goes with their agenda. And so a lot of us, in the community, just like in different urban communities, we don't see the impact of voting. And even our cultural people will say, well, I'm not into voting. It doesn't affect me. A lot of religious people, it doesn't affect me, but it affects us. It does. It impacts us in everything that we do. So I'm focusing on young people. We can focus on, those older people, if you want to, but the younger people are the ones that, are coming up that need to be educated on the importance of voting, of getting out there and the impact of that. And I think that those of us who know the importance of voting need to focus on young people, and I think that's where our answer lies.
Okay. Thank you, Namibia. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye. Oh, shout out to Mayor Vic Karstefan, Camden City, Invincible. I don't know who that is, but Joseph Simmons seems to know. Gail from Northeast, how are you?
I'm doing quite well. How are you, Andrea?
I am so good. I love thank you for I love when the women call in because I get the men. I think they wait for me to get on the air, and they're all in a line. But so I thank you for calling in. How are you? What can I do for you?
I'm just calling because what George stated, I just want to say, gun houses have been around for eons, and they're not all in down the area. And people want to, or I'll say down the area, they're all over the city, and they are being fueled by people that don't look like us. And with all the sad part is, with all the money that was supposed to help the community is being to kill the community. And that's the sad part, because people don't know how to take their circumstances instead of showing rage against one another. It's just a lot of empty promises. And what the young lady said about voting, that is so instrumental. And you hear so many of them say, and I go out and I try to register people, and the main people that it affects are the ones that say, I don't do that. I don't do that. But it's affecting you. And if we don't get our act together, we are going to be back in the 1950s, literally, because we're not going to have a voice. And they are making sure that they take it from us. We won't have a voice, and we won't have a history. And we have to be aware of that. Critical race theory is something that is taught in law school, and they're literally trying to gin up hatred for people like us that want to know the true history of this country and our answers.
Yes,
so thank you, Andrea. I appreciate you, and continue doing what you're doing.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good one, okay? All right, bye-bye. All right, bye-bye. Gary from Southwest, you're my last caller for today. How are you, sir?
How are you, Andrea?
Ooh, you all wear me out. You all wear me out.
But you know what? But you know what, Andrea?
Yes.
We love you, though, because you let us talk and you listen to us and you care about us. I just wanted to add something when we talk. I know a lot of times people don't have a problem with the way George may say things, but you know what? The real bottom line is those individuals in Center City that look like us, and it's been for too long, they don't really care about us. And we have to change that scenario. And there are other younger people that need to be in office that are going to really fight for us, younger and older, not excluding anyone. And we got to wake up and smell the coffee, because they're taking advantage of us. And it's a certain group of people that don't mean to have us to progress to the level that we should. And our people are allowing it. People that look like us in office are getting their little money on the side and allowing it to happen, because their families are fine and they're in a great financial situation. But the rest of our people, our schools, everything, they're suffering, Andrea. We got to wake up. We have to wake up, and we have to turn out the vote. Not just the young. I know one young lady emphasized the young people. I'm talking about everybody. Yeah. Everybody has to be out there.
And that's what I want us to do. I want us to stop the infighting so we can do what we need to do.
That's what I'm saying. We're all one, Andrea. We got to remember, younger, older, we're all one. But I am so sick. I was going to say a word. I'm going to rephrase it. I'm so sick of these individuals down in City Hall that look like us, that sit back, and absolutely nothing is done. How you want to recess? I'm going to leave it there.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for calling in. It is 3:49. I have 6 minutes to get off the air. You all make me want to drink a cup of tea and hoosah till tomorrow morning. But I'm going to read this piece. I just want to thank you all, though. You've been so wonderful. You know, as much as I laugh and joke about the fact that you all wear me out, I look forward to continuing the dialogue with you guys every day, to having the kinds of segments on that will make you think. You know, we want to have more young people on. The financial segment is amazing. We just, you know, there's so much happening here. I, you know, try not to cover as much news, but to be the source for the solutions that we may need in our community. I'm going to leave the show today with this. Couple convicted after attacking Team Sesame Place worker in mass dispute. The 17-year-old employee suffered a broken jaw and damaged teeth during the attack last year. So it's published July 10th, Channel 10, Philadelphia. A New York couple has been found guilty of aggravated assault by a jury in Bucks County of assaulting a 17-year-old Sesame Place employee over a face mask dispute in 2020. Troy McCoy, 40, of the Bronx, New York, was found guilty of aggravated assault, simple assault, disorderly conduct, harassments, and endangerment. Shakira Bonds, 32, also from the Bronx, was found guilty of simple assault and disorderly conduct. On August 9th, McCoy, 39, and Bonds, 31, were at Sesame Place in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, with another adult and 4 children, people said. A 17-year-old employee told McCoy and Bonds that they were required to wear masks while in the park due to coronavirus safety measures. The duo then confronted the teenage worker at the Captain Cookie's High Seas Adventure Ride, where McCoy sucker punched the teen in the face to teach him a lesson. According to the police paperwork filed in court, the teen fell to the ground unconscious as Bonds continued the beating. My God. The attack appeared to happen in front of the couple's children, according to investigators. The couple then fled from the scene as park security chased after them, police said. The teen suffered a broken jaw and damaged teeth. He also spent nearly a week in the hospital. After the trial, the judge revoked McCoy's bail and also ordered Bond's bail to increase to 10% of $250,000. So one went to jail, and the other one has to come up with some money. Wow. You know, Joseph Simmons said, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, go for self. Reverend Leon Sullivan said, build, brother, build. Neither one of them said, wait for the government. And so there's a lot going on here. I hear all of you. Believe me, I hear all of you. And that's why we're talking about taking care of ourselves, but we still have to vote and make sure that we have the kinds of leadership that we want to see in our communities. Leon Sullivan, I don't know much about Elijah Muhammad, but I've been watching a lot of documentaries about the black communities around this country, and the things that we have done and accomplished over the decades. There's so much more that we can do. There are blueprints in front of us, like Leon H. Sullivan, Dr. Leon H. Sullivan, who got his blueprint from his Jamaican grandmother, because what he talked about, build, brother, build, is what we call partner in Jamaica. And so there are, and there are other forms of building generational wealth. I talk to you all about it all the time. I'm very transparent, and it's not just about building generational wealth. It's about taking care of our mental health and our physical well-being. The amount of diseases that we have to deal with, from diabetes to hypertension to cancer to you name it, and we die at a more alarming rates because we're getting these diseases coupled with the traumas that we have to deal with every day. So when I ask you, when I come here on the air and I say to you, we may not agree with someone and we may believe they have been a killer and whatever else is going on out here, I need you all to understand. Take the meat, spit out the bones. If it's not someone that you don't want to listen to, that's okay. But I'm telling you, as while some of us have built wealth and we're living la vida loca, there are still, when we look back at our community, so many more are suffering and dying. I don't want to have another phone call, and I suspect that I will get more, of my friends' children who are dying, who are being killed by gun violence. We have to find ways. If you're not mentoring, please pick up yourselves and mentor somebody. You don't have to spread and tell the whole world that you're mentoring. Do it quietly. Those mentees will speak on your behalf and tell people what you're doing. You know, if you can afford to buy some books for some children, do that. If there's a child in the STEM program that needs some support, it's all about what we do for each other without waiting for someone to pat us on the back in return, right? And so we as we work to uproot the foolishness that's going on in our cities, we can take the chance to do what we need to do to support and love on and help each other without looking for something in return. If you've made it out, right, and if you've been able to do what you need to do to get a better life, I'm asking you to just turn and give it back to someone else instead of blaming those who are left behind. Coming up next is Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.